Hello, good afternoon, everybody. uh 120. Switching up the times a little bit. But I am back. Just checking my settings. Okay, guys. Are you guys ready to go over some stuff? Um, got my fresh cup of coffee. I still have a couple sips from my other coffee, but I feel like this might be a long live. Let me take a sip. Yeah. Fuck. See, wait. I never ended the last live? You're joking, right? I hope I ended it. You guys would have seen me sitting here. Well, I guess I didn't do anything, but did I? You guys got me checking now. I did, right? Yeah. Okay. Why is it not ending though? Oh yeah, it is. Okay. It's like that's actually a fear of mine. Okay, so I have a fear that I forget that I'm live and I just stay on and like, you know, hold on. That I'm like, who knows? So I try to make sure I cover my camera when I'm done because I'm like, did I turn it off? What if I'm still alive? But I've seen like, I remember I've heard people like that accidentally kept it on while they fell asleep and forgot it was on. Who did that once? I swear, it's like, oh my gosh. Uh, okay, so you ready? You ready? Okay, so where do you want to start? Let me share my screen. I want to start with some of the articles and I'll intermix it with pictures and stuff. Okay. So, and I have a new interview that we haven't went over that just popped up that I feel like is not well. I haven't seen a lot of people sharing it. I could be wrong, but okay. So let me go over the articles first. Some very crazy things. Okay. I think so. We'll just no. This isn't no particular order. Um, I'll just start with, and a lot of them overlap, but they'll at least have one new thing in each thing. So as we see, like some of them overlap, I'll skip through some of the stuff, but it usually I'll have at least one new thing in the article. So this is Daily Mail. I subscribed, like I paid for their subscription because there's a lot of this stuff that they don't have. Like you have to pay for it. So, but I thought it'd be worth it because I saw some of the headlines and I'm like, I need to have this information. I want to know what the heck this is about. Okay. So now some of it is overlapping from stuff we read yesterday too that is public, but okay, so we'll start with this. Why does it do that though when I zoom in? Why is it like usually I could zoom in and scroll over? Why is it doing that now lately? I am so confused. It never used to do that. You used to be able to like scroll over. Huh. All right. Well, I like to try to make it as big as possible for y'all. That's why, but hopefully you guys can still read it, right? All right. So this is titled Troubled Truth About Little Nicky. Robbed Reiner's friends reveal son's lifetime of red flags as he's arrested over violent murders. The dark past of Rob Reiner's son, Nick, who has been arrested over the killings of his father and mother, Michelle, has been revealed by friends and sources close to the family. The 32-year-old has been booked for murder over his parents' violent deaths. Hollywood legend Reiner and his wife were found with their throats slit at their $13.5 million Los Angeles mansion on Sunday. Nick's strained relationship with his parents has been no secret in Hollywood, with his father even making a film with his son about the challenges they face, primarily driven by Nick's struggles with drug addictions. His problems seemingly began long before adulthood, with 2012 children's book, A Chair in the Air, about a difficult boy named Little Nicky, written by a family friend who was inspired by his unruly nature as a boy. Nick was an intense kid who screamed like the world was on fire, prompting his parents to have therapy and even inspiring a book about a child with behavioral problems. The author Alana Zabel told the Daily Mail. Zabel taught yoga to the family for almost 10 years, including private classes with Nick. So when she heard on Sunday evening that the When Harry Met Sally director, 78, and his wife Michelle, 70, were found dead with stab wounds in their Brentwood home, her thoughts immediately went to the troubled child she knew. From the angsty youngster, he became an adult with severe drug problems. He had been to rehab 18 times as of 2016. And a couple of the articles say 17 times, but first going around his 15th birthday and lived on the streets after refusing to go back. The 2016 drama Being Charlie, directed by his father, focused on addiction and pain it causes families and was co-written by Nick with a friend from rehab. And that's the interview that I found. He has his friend up there and his dad, and I feel like he's more loose. I didn't get to watch it. I just watched a quick clip because I want to watch it with you guys. Seems like he's more loose. He's with his friend. Okay. He had clashes with his family throughout the years, as documented in the film, which portrays a young man who resents the way his father and mother are dealing with his addiction. And I did talk about how I watched this. I will talk about what I thought about it in case you guys didn't watch my live earlier, but I'll do that in the middle of sharing some of this stuff, my thoughts on that. They forced him to spend time in rehab with their interactions, a reflection of how Rob, Michelle, and Nick were with each other, the family said at the time, evidencing the years of clashes the parents had with their son. It ends with an apology from the dad for the occasionally unsympathetic way he treated his son. Reiner said in an interview afterward that he owed and gave this apology to his son in real life. But Nick's unpredictability and even aggression towards his family seemingly continued. And in the episode of the Dopey podcast, which is another video I'm working on, which I'm going to upload the audio of when he's on there. He's on 3 different shows of it, and I'm going to put pictures. That's coming later. Anyway, because like their podcasts are like 2 hours long, so I'm going to just clip out the parts he's on it because he's only on small parts of the, not small. I mean, the one time I think it's like an hour or maybe, but anyway, so in an episode on the Dopey podcast in 2018, he described the time he destroyed his parents' guest house while spun out on meth after being told to leave. During the program from August 18th that year, host David Mannheim asked Nick, "What about when you wrecked the guest house on meth?" Which I actually did play this clip already on my last live. But I'm not going to play it again because I'm going to upload the actual podcast and stuff. But here's that book, A Chair in the Air, written by Alana Zabel. So supposedly she got the inspiration from Nick because she knew him like, when he was younger. Well, I just read how they knew each other, right? If you're paying attention. A celebrity yoga teacher and author who was friends with the Reiner family revealed that her experience with Rob and Michelle's son, Nick, inspired her to write this children's book about an unruly child named Little Nicky. "Nicky, it's way past your bedtime. Little Nicky was picky, often threw a fit." So she's showing some of the pages. He often threw a fit. He didn't relax easy, and he never wanted to sit. And his mother was bothered, asking again and again, "Nicky, finish your homework and go to bed." "I got totally spun out on uppers. I think it was Coke and something else," Nick replied. "I was up for days and started punching out different things in my guest house. I started with the TV and then went over to the lamp." Like I said, I know there's going to be a lot of stuff we already went over, but there is new stuff within these articles. I'm telling you, there's stuff that we did not go over. Okay. There's like I said, at least a couple things in each article, I would say. When asked if punching the furniture was a way to relieve tension, Nick replied, "No, you're crazy. No logic." Mannheim, a longtime recovering addict, told Nick he was concerned about him and urged him to give recovery another chance. Desperate to help him overcome his behavioral problems as a child, Nick's parents turned to yoga instructor, that Zabel, who detailed how he had an aggressive streak even from a very young age. Nicky would barge in like the world was on fire, screaming into our yoga sessions. She must have called him Nicky. We know he's younger. So he's screaming into our yoga sessions. It was disruptive, she said, recalling his behavior aged around 10 in the 2000s. He was really screaming. I have never seen a child like it, Zabel, who met the Reiners in 2001, told the Daily Mail. Here's another part of the book. I'm mad. My mom's sad, Nikki said. I'm all over the place. I have so much wild energy and I broke her new vase. And this is a picture of her, the author and the yoga instructor that worked with him when he was younger. For about a year, I did private classes just with Nikki, really trying to regulate him and calm him down. His emotions were not being met on some level. He really needed attention and needed it immediately when he needed it. He was just an intense kid. Celebrity yoga teacher Zabel said her experience with a young Nick inspired her to write a book published about a child called Nikki with behavioral problems who finds peace through yoga after running away from home. Little Nicky was picky. He often threw a fit. He didn't relax easy, and he never wanted to sit. The first line of the illustrated book says, she didn't know at the time that Nicky would end up going to rehab around his 15th birthday over substance abuse, the first of 17 inpatient stints over the next 4 years. He told People magazine in 2016 that he ended up homeless in the streets because he repeatedly refused treatment, but had since been on the mend. I was homeless in Maine. I was homeless in New Jersey. I was homeless in Texas. He said, I spent nights on the street. I spent weeks on the street. It was not fun. If I wanted to do it my way and not, if I wanted to do it my way and not go to the programs they were suggesting, then I had to be homeless. Him and his sister. So it said he co-wrote it with his friend and directed by his father, that being Charlie. I've been home for a really long time. I've sort of gotten acclimated back to being in LA and being around my family, but there were a lot of dark years there. Zabel said the Reiners had hired a therapist to help tackle the problems they faced with Nick. The fact that they were seeing a family therapist shows how much they cared. They were trying to figure it out, said Zabel, who has a degree in child development. Rob and Michelle loved the book. They brought it to their therapist because they were considering publishing it with me. The therapist just didn't want Nicky to know that there was a book written about him having his tantrum and add more energy to his behavioral issues. So I just did it on my own, and they were fine with that. Zabel described the Reiner parents as passionate, hands-on, and loving. I love Rob and Michelle so much. They were just so passionate. Both of them were very intensely passionate about their family life, justice, and creativity, she said. I have a question. Am I reading too fast or not? I tend to read faster when I know I have a lot to get through, and I don't want to read too fast where you guys aren't following it. Is it at a good speed or not? Michelle was a New Yorker living in California. She was really mindful, trying to raise her kids out of the pressures of Los Angeles and Hollywood. It was challenging and full-time. Just knowing how many times I've been in that house and knowing these people and just imagining that your destiny is that, this is unbelievable. She pointed out that the Jewish family were likely preparing for a family get-together to celebrate the first night of Hanukkah on Sunday before they died. Probably they were planning Hanukkah dinner and something happened, she said. The yoga teacher, who has had several top celebrity clients, added that the discord she witnessed between Nick and his family was a product of their fame. I think it's really challenging for children of Hollywood stars to have a clear sense of reality. It's really not easy, but it's not an excuse, she said. The sense of neglect can breed its own delusion in kids. I'm really just gutted with sadness hearing their story tonight. They were passionate and wanted the best for everyone. So kind and generous, but also very, very intense people. Okay. So that's the first article. Like I said, there's going to be some overlap, but there's also going to be new stuff. Okay, so let's do this one. Okay, so this one's titled The Bizarre 3 Questions Nick Reiner Asked A-listers at Conan O'Brien's Party as Heartbreaking Moment Sister Romy Learned About Mother's Death is Revealed. Nick Reiner pestered A-listers at Conan O'Brien's holiday party with a series of bizarre questions just hours before he allegedly killed his own parents. The festive gathering of Hollywood celebrities turned sour when legendary director Rob Reiner's 32-year-old son was asked to leave after badgering numerous guests with a series of inane queries. So they're saying he was asked to leave this article. Who's calling me? I'll probably have to telemarketer. What's your name? He asks them, and he asks, what's your name? What's your last name? And are you famous? I guess is the three questions he was asking everybody. And supposedly he was asked to leave, I guess, according to this report. Nick quizzed partygoers, according to the Wall Street Journal. Nick was introduced to Bill Hader by his father, and he proceeded to interrupt the Saturday Night Live comedian. He then allegedly became irate when Hader responded that he was in the middle of a private conversation, which I heard this story, I read this story, but a little specific thing that in the articles that I read that it didn't say is the fact that he was just introduced, his father introduced him to him. So he's probably like, oh, my father, yeah, he's going to want to talk to me. And then Bill didn't really want it. Like, I'm busy right now. And he got offended. He got offended by that, I bet. Anyway, Nick just stood there and stared before storming off, an insider previously told NBC News. Less than 24 hours later, Reiner and his wife, Michelle Singer Reiner, were found stabbed to death inside their $13.5 million Los Angeles mansion. A massage therapist arrived at the home for a scheduled appointment and was unable to get inside. They called the couple's daughter, Romy, who lives across the street, for help. The 27-year-old was able to get the door open and discover the gruesome scene of her father's lifeless body before fleeing from the home. The daughter had her roommate call 911 while she reached out to her father's longtime friend, actor Billy Crystal. Romy only learned that her mother was also dead inside the house when paramedics arrived and broke the grim news. So that's a whole different story than Billy Bush. I tend to believe this over, I don't know. Sorry, I realized I didn't drink any water for the last couple of days that much. I just need, hold on, let me get hydrated. Okay. So sad. Says they were killed in the early morning hours. Okay. Nick was ultimately arrested in connection with the murders later that day. He has been since charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder, and if convicted, could face life in prison without the possibility of parole or even the death penalty, which I do see that TMZ did up. We're going to watch that about the death penalties could be on the table. I mean, something about that. I didn't get to really watch the whole thing, but it sounds like they might try to do it, but that has to come. It's a whole different set of circumstances. They're going to have to prove, the mitigation stuff, not mitigation. What's it called? What's the word? I can't think of the word. But yes, remember, I haven't slept, guys. And the whole week, I barely slept all week. I've been working, not getting much sleep at all. Okay, his parents were killed in the early morning hours on Sunday. The district attorney, Nathan Hochman, said at the press conference. Early morning hours, okay. A source close to the investigation told Daily Mail that they were found in bed Sunday afternoon with their throats cut and may have been asleep when they were murdered. But if that's the case, then Romy finds her mom, finds her dad. If they're both in bed, she sees her dad, but doesn't see her mom laying next to him, unless if they sleep in separate beds. See, that just doesn't pan with her only seeing her dad and running out. Because if they were in the same bed, she would have seen both of them. Like I said, unless they really weren't in bed or they sleep in separate beds. I don't know. Some couples do. Okay. The Reiners had already been dead for hours when they were discovered, with their bodies showing signs of rigor mortis, which usually sets in between 2 to 6 hours after death, sources told TMZ. So TMZ saying this, Daily Mail saying this, New York Post also says this about the rigor mortis. So I think Billy Bush got a wrong information. Nick could have done it long ago, or Nick could have Nick could have done it long after they all went home, meaning he went there and slit their throats in the middle of the night, the Daily Mail source said. They were in bed when that happened. Los Angeles Fire Department has said his first responders were called to the Reiner home around 3:30 p.m. and tried to render aid to the stabbed couple to no avail. But if they had rigor mortis, they wouldn't even try to render aids. They would just, they just the paramedics leave if they're already dead on arrival. So that's just we are getting conflicting things here. Romy then reportedly told authorities at the scene that her brother lived on the property as well, but investigators did not find Nick inside the guest house. Instead, 32-year-old had checked into the Pierside Santa Monica at 4 a.m. using his own credit card when witness said he looked tweaked out, TMZ reported. Their staff are said to have discovered a shower full of blood and a trail leading off of his bed, as well as a window covered up by bed sheets. There's him and his sister. There's his arrest picture. If you guys haven't seen it, there's another one. We're also going to go over, there's new little clips of surveillance keeps getting, now even more got released than when I did the short late last night. But it got me looking into some things, and I'll have to show you what I found. Oh, I forgot to look. Oh, I wanted to do one more identifying before I went live. I was going to find the place where that was taken. Shoot. Well, maybe we'll do it together. I wanted to have that done. I forgot. But I did find Conan in Rob's house and how close they lived together. Not even 2 miles, 31-minute walk. So if you guys have seen my short where I said, I think he's walking home after the party, it was definitely doable. I think that's what we'll go over that in a minute, because I think that's what he was doing. I think he was walking home. It was a 12:17 that footage caught him walking. And I think that was him walking home after the party, and because it was by his house, but Conan's house is pretty close too. Okay. Anyway, sorry. Kind of got off track. But Nick had not checked out of the hotel by the time he was taken into custody at Los Angeles subway station. In Exposition Park, 15 miles from his parents' Brentwood mansion at around 9:15. A video exclusively obtained by the Daily Mail of their arrest shows how police cars with flashing lights descended on a busy intersection in downtown Los Angeles. Nick could be seen in the footage walking slowly down the road before raising his arms, which we already went over that. It said, describing the scene, a witness told the Daily Mail how he saw 5 unmarked police cars surround Nick, who appeared to remain calm as armed homicide officers and U.S. Marshals approached and slammed into the ground. He didn't see them coming, said bystander Kevin, adding that Nick appeared to remain cool and calm. I'm assuming they caught him surprised. He wasn't attacked. He was approached. He was minding his own business, the witness said. Nick has now been placed on this S watch. Okay, so this is all I will skip some of this. His motive remains unclear. Says there was no indication that Nick was under the influence of any drug at the time of his parents' murders, despite his history of substance abuse. So, I mean, there's just no proof yet. We're going to find that out. I think there's going to show there probably was, but we'll see. And we know the father always gave him ultimatum by the age 22. Wait, Nick had been to rehab 17 times by the age 22 after his family gave him the ultimatum of entering rehab or living on the streets. He chose the latter option. If I wanted to do it my way and not go to programs they were suggesting, then I had to be homeless. Okay. Spent nights on the street, so we definitely already read that. Oh, I sit there and mapped it all on my own, and now they freaking have a map right here. I did a background search on Conan to get his address. I got his address, and then so when you look up Rob Reiner's address, it gives you the wrong address on Google. So what I had to do is get an aerial. It gives you close, but it doesn't give you the right street name. because I look at the aerial shots and and I looked at the front and I was like, it doesn't match. What the heck? It doesn't match. Why are they saying he lived there? Well, he lives across the street from what they name as the thing. So it took me a little bit to do the research, and now they have it right here. Well, they just have a dot, but I have it the exact location, so it was worth it, right, guys? All right. When Nick then became sober, he and his father explored their complicated relationship in the 2016 film, Being Charlie. Yeah, so we're gonna says I guess the filmmaker I told Nick while we were making it, I said, it doesn't matter. Whatever happens to this thing, we won already. This has already been good. We've worked through a lot of stuff. Um, and this, I had read this yesterday. I thought this was interesting. But it has been said that Nick was once again struggling with drug abuse in recent weeks, and that Rob and Michelle decided to bring their son to O'Brien's holiday party to keep an eye on him. Nick is now facing two count. Okay, we don't have to read this same old stuff. Okay. So now take a break from articles. We still have some interesting stuff here, articles, but we'll take a break from that for a minute and go through some pictures, okay? Just do a little variety so we don't get burnt out on article reading. And I'm not even reading them in any particular order. I'm just kind of random wallpapers, guys. Welcome to my life. I still haven't changed it. All right, so now I'll show you where I got a lot of now not all the pictures, some of the pictures like the new pictures that I got. Look where I got them. And we'll go through them. I found Nick's Facebook page. And he's got a bunch of pictures, and I went to his brother's Facebook page, and his brother has a few pictures. Romy has a few pictures of them together, and I collected them all. And I'm going to go through, we might as well just go through them on his Facebook page now. Okay, so he hasn't posted in a while. You could see it's from 2018 is the last time he posted. Okay. But we'll go through some pictures. He's got some good pictures. I mean, interesting. Okay. So I'll just skip to the ones. So we have smiling. Wow. Seems odd to see him actually with a genuine, it looks like a genuine smile, November 20th, 2014, somebody says, looking good, man. All grown up and making his own moves. Strict Catholic family. Looking good, brother. I really want to see this interview, huh? So that was that. He just posted it. No, he didn't post any text with it. And then this is him and his sister. His sister's so pretty. I guess they were like best friends, but you'll see towards the end he threatened her and stuff. That's coming up in an article. He threatened his sister. It just got out of hand, and that's probably why she's like, he's dangerous. But they were really close growing up, and then he probably started getting like scary. Anyways, the him and his sister posted September 14th, 2014. Oh shoot. It says somebody says adorable, and Barry Markowitz says, great shot, Barry. Who? Paul says, don't know you, you don't know her, but I know Dopey. That young lady is incredibly beautiful. Keep her. Probably doesn't realize it's his sister. He probably thinks it's like a girlfriend. Somebody says, what's that Philadelphia Phillies hat? So you can see Rob and his mom in the back. Rob and Michelle. There's him and her, which that was posted on Daily Mail, that picture. Romy, Reiner. If I say Reiner, it's because I went to high school with a Reiner, spelled the same. So just forgive me if I accidentally. I'm so used to pronouncing it Reiner. Reiner. Okay. Romy Reiner says, what? And Nick says, I had no idea what to write. Oh, because he captions this September 8th, 2014 with really question mark. That's what she's like, what? Romy's like, what? And he says, I had no idea what to write. Odd. Here, I'll do it like this. So it's bigger. Okay. He captures it. This is how I appreciate art. Jackson, it just says. That must be Jackson. Genuine smile. There's some smiles in these pictures. So it's crazy because all the pictures that came out, a lot of them was, with him and his dad, which there was some smiles, but not a lot. Now we're seeing him in kind of, I don't know, different environments. And that's the second smile where it seemed genuine. And a lot of those other ones, he had that, like, he has that fakes, like, it's not even a smile, but his face goes up. He has that look on, or like that. He's not even trying to fake a smile. It's just how he holds his face. But so it says, now we hang out every weekend with Harry J. So he got some friends and he looks happy. Somebody says word. Patrick Flory says word. Harry J says squad. Hashtag squad. Nick says, I'm happy this picture brought everyone back together. And Harry says, for real. This is in 2014. This is his friend. This is Harry. So this one's Harry. And then, so it must be a good friend of his. Way to go, Glads, Nick writes. And TJ Trav says, nice mannequin pubes. Oh my. Wait, is that really, did they really put those in there? Or did they do it for a joke? Like, did that mannequin really have that? That's funny. Why would they put that on a mannequin? Like, I guess to make it look realistic, but really, I don't know. I'm confused on that one. Is that him? Yeah, I guess. It says, can't be thinking about something good with Cameron Moline. I think that's him. Cynthia says, Cameron is always thinking about something good. Unless if that's Cam. No, that's that's Cameron. Doesn't it kind of look like that could be him? I guess. I don't know. Wait, let me see. Yeah, Cameron looks really similar to him. Look. I could see. Yeah. Like, okay. I see. All right. I think this is him under the desk. It says, having fun at work with Andrew Hollinsworth. So, I mean, maybe he does know how to be social with people, probably when he's on drugs. I don't know. I mean, I guess that doesn't mean anything just because he could, who knows? I'd like to hear from like a good friend of his and see. Now, it says, that's touching, Brett. And Brett says, fixed it. So wait, Nick says, that's touching, Brett. And Brett says, fixed it. Now, this guy actually looks like the guy that from the interview I just saw real quick from the screenshot. I just saw it really quick. I didn't really watch much of it. It looks like that might be the guy he screen wrote the thing with. And now I wonder, can I tell? Why do like a spoiler if I say something about the movie, like something that big that happens, or what? Tell me if I shouldn't say it, because I just want to. The reason I want to say it is because I want to talk about his friend thinking something and then thinking if it's not him because of a certain thing. Okay, well, I'll just say a part of it because I don't want to spoiler it. Yeah. Is anybody planning on watching it that they don't want to know something big that happens in it? So I guess I'll just say a part of what I wanted to say then. So when I see this picture of this guy, and then I think it's the same guy that is in this other picture that I'll come up that's supposedly, well, I'll show you. It looks like we'll come across it. If you watch the movie, his really good friend in the movie, as soon as I saw, okay, let me rewind. As soon as I saw this one picture where he's sitting with him, I think of the movie, or I might have watched, I saw the picture first, then saw the movie, and I was like, that's him. That's the friend. The friend looks really similar. Like he has that same look. I feel like that's the friend he's trying to portray in the movie. That's his good friend in the movie. He co-wrote it with him, right? So I think it is because he just has that look about him. I can't explain it. If you see the movie, you'll know what I'm talking about when I show you some more pictures, okay? But there's something that happens in the movie that it doesn't seem like it happened here, so that's confusing me. But I think it is because I guess it doesn't every single thing that happens in the movie. It doesn't have to be true, but that part you would think would be because of how big it was in the movie. But I don't know. Well, yes, we're gonna talk to that. That's coming, Abraham. Well, that's coming. I just have to. I don't know which article. I'll try to find that article next. But after I go through these pictures, because I have some thoughts about that, and I hope I'm wrong. Okay, here's January 22nd, 2014. Um, Somebody says, "Stop it! You got arrested." So why so serious, brother? Oh my God, that's today. John Mayer, you look wistful, loving the hair, hot. So I don't know. Is this supposed to be his mugshot? No, I don't know. Because somebody's saying, "Stop it! You got arrested?" Question mark. Because I think it does kind of look like a mugshot. Not sure. And somebody says, "Why so serious, brother?" And then Todd says, "Oh my God, that's today." So I wonder if he did get into some kind of trouble and they knew and they're like, "Oh my God, that's from what?" I don't know. Um, but that's 2014. This is 2013. It says LAPD. Todd says, LAPD, you know what's up. Um, hold on, we'll get to that, guys. I get easily distracted. So when I see people talking about other stuff, I feel like I have to hurry up and talk about that then. But I want to, you guys want me to, do you want to look at the pictures later? So here's one in 2013. Here's one in 2013. He posted athleticism at its best. He says, and Jacob says, "Are you in Central Park?" And Hayla says, "Perfect form." Here's one he posted in 2013. Wyatt says, "Miss you, bud. Hope all is well. Be easy." Daniel says, "Looking good, little Nicky." Wow, they must have called a lot of people. Maybe his friends called him little Nicky too. I don't know. Daniel says, "Oh snap, Brandon, you're right." Nick says back, "Thank you, Elina Elodge." But I don't know what I don't see one hold on, all comments because I don't see Alina didn't even comment. Who's she talking to? Maybe she took it away? Haley says, "Miss you." James says, "Oh God, great pic of you, but you should really cut the background out of it." Okay, what? There's a picture. Lose your crown. What do you mean, Leanne? Are you guys want me to do this later? You want me to move on from the pictures? Well, how are you guys feeling here? Are you engaged with the pictures or you want me to do an article now? I thought I'd mix it up a little bit. Here's a but I feel like maybe you guys aren't into this. Okay, so we have where's he at? View at SP Pepix whatever. So you could see him right here, right here, right here, right here. And I don't know, this one cuts off him, but this is so I don't know. He's with some friends. Here, this is the picture I was talking about. So it looks like somebody's like, oh, they think like, oh, he's out on the streets homeless, which I originally was thinking, yeah. And then somebody said, well, no, in Facebook, he said it's on set. This is 2015, which he would have started making the movie on 2015. And then 2016, it came out. And this is his co writer, if I'm right on pretty sure that it looks like the same guy, the interview we're going to watch is supposedly his co writer, right? So it probably is on set. So somebody says this looks so like I said, July 29th, 2015. Somebody says this looks like a modeling campaign. Haha, miss you, man. And James says, what the F are you homeless? And Nick says, no. Paul says, good to see my boys. Peter says, sobriety is the only way. So people are thinking he's out on the streets. And Nick says, this is a set. It probably is the set. I'm guessing. And he would be on it because they co-wrote it together, but they just look pretty. Maybe they took that picture on purpose to look like they're, like, kinda strung out on the streets. Um, Here's another one of him and his friends. Yeah, here he is right here. Or he's back. Ooh, that's kinda creepy. That's him back here, and then here, and then oh, that's kinda creepy too. Here. Creep. Ugh. Just because of knowing what he did and then, like, seeing his eyes back there. Yee. Um, oh, so his brother I wanted to tell you this, I know I said this on the last slide, but I didn't have many people in there. I watched, Being Charlie. He makes an appearance. If you guys have watched it, he's the one playing beer pong with the main actor. They're playing beer pong, and Being Charlie, the person that is playing him, is, like, beating the crap out of him so that he has to keep drinking. So he has, like, less than a minute. He's only in it probably, like, 30 seconds, and his brother actually has a bigger part. His brother not bigger part than he does. His brother just appears he's like the reporter asking questions, asking a couple questions to his dad. So his brother actually talks in it, and well, he actually talks a little bit because he's getting beaten beer pong, and he's like, "No, no," and yeah, but that happens a lot. You see, like, people that write in the movies, they'll just make a quick little appearance, especially if it's about their life, they'll play somebody else, but it's really quick. If you guys haven't noticed, I tried to screenshot it. I was talking to my other live to just show you so you guys know where to look for it at. It turns black. That movie, it won't let you even screenshot a picture of it. It turns black. So it's not gonna let me live stream to show you. It's just gonna turn black. But I was just trying to get a picture so I could show you. Nope. Oh, this is that same picture. It says adorable. Oh yeah, I already went over that. So this might be all the ones. Yeah. Okay. So let's go. Hold on. We're gonna go to his brother has a couple pictures of him. So this is his brother Jake. Don't worry, we're almost done with the Facebook stuff because the brother doesn't have a ton. This is from January 29th, 2023 in Strasbourg, France. Sister, Nick, Jake, that's his brother. Probably got a pack of cigarettes right there, but probably. So let me just go through. I'm not gonna go through all his pics because I just want to go through the ones that have them in it. And I actually saved them, but I'm gonna put him in my other video, but I'll just kind of find him real quick on here. There's only a few, but there is still a few. I mean, I just gotta. There's that one, and then this one. This is November 2016, November 28th. Beautiful family, somebody says, and somebody said, at first I thought you were growing a beard. Crazy, dude. Your brother looks like a whole lot like you. They did when they were like, when he was a little, a little bit younger than this too, but then now he looks like he aged quicker. Looks a lot older, more like I don't even know. Anyway, somebody says, good looking crew over there. And David says, good looking, very happy. Rob, you're blocking Jake's light. I just want to see if anybody says anything interesting. Nick doesn't comment. It doesn't look like. And none of the other family looks like they commented. No. Okay. There might be one more, but maybe not. Oh yeah, there is. There is a couple more that I'm remembering. Okay. So we have this one. 2015 it was posted. Him and his brother and sister. Romy says, love you. Well, he tags them with Nick and Romy. So Romy says, love you. Jake says, love you too. Alex Weinstock says, great picture. Sonia says, miss you all. Richard Reiner says, looking good. So I don't know, is Richard? No, I don't know who Richard is. Maybe their uncle or something. I'm not sure. But Nick doesn't write anything on there. But Romy says, love you. Nick doesn't say anything. Okay. Here's another one of Nick. Reminds me of the Outsiders, you know, that movie or The Greasers. That's 2015. Okay. And then we have this one. Perry Alexander says that Nick Reiner is a one cool cat. Jake, what he says, I love my brother and sister. That's what he puts on this picture. Jamie says, love this photo. What a handsome bunch. I don't know why Perry says that Nick is one cool cat. Okay, and then we have that one, but I think this one too. Right there. This says 2013. Perry again says that Nick Reiner has some calming eyes. Who is this person? It's probably one of Nick's friends, just I don't know, but here he is right here. Wow. Looks so different compared to like those interviews when he was promoting that. Like, I don't know. He looks so different throughout the years. Okay, and then we have this one. Nothing, no text. It just in 2013 it says posted. And remember, he said he loved baseball. His brother loved basketball. So his dad liked basketball. His dad did. So maybe he shared the baseball love with his brother. I don't know. He didn't really say much about his brother. I think, yeah, that we've seen in the interviews. All right. So is this him? No, that's his brother. Wow. Sometimes I think it's him, but it's his brother. That's his brother. Okay. They do look similar when they were younger, I feel like. Nope. That's his brother, mom and sister. Yeah, I don't think there's any more. Let me see. Nope, that's his brother. Oh yeah, he's in that one right there. I gotta save that one. I don't have that one. Because I'm making, when I do the podcast, I need pictures to put on it for visuals since it's just audio. Oh, this is him too. I don't have that saved. Hold on. I might as well save him. Why? He was a little chubby, a little bit. Okay, so it says 2009. Hey, what kind of truck are you boys driving? Is it a Hemi? Jake says only the best. That's, yeah, interesting. Oh, wait, this one. Oh, nobody. Just reading to see if like any of them comment, but nope. Okay. Wait, here's another one. I don't think I saved this one either. Let me save this too. For a future video, this him and his brother, 2009, nothing, no comments or anything. Here's another one of him and his brother. I missed a lot of these. 2009. Yeah, I definitely overlooked these ones. Yeah, look, that's him too. Wow. There's a lot. Okay. Right there. Huh. I would have maybe saved some of these for another time because I feel like some people were kind of getting bored with it. I'm not. I like seeing pictures because you kind of get a feel for the dynamics of the family a little bit. Because I mean, I know it's just the pictures, but I don't know. It kind of tells a story, in my opinion. It helps tell the story. You know, oh, that's him too, right there. Drinking a beer, 2009. He's got his dad, Rob, Jake. Doesn't look old enough to be drinking a beer, but hey, I mean, Jake says, are you trying to rip off the top of your skull to show Nick what your brain looks like? And Jake says, haha, actually, my dad, whenever he is relaxed by himself, will always find himself with his hand on top of his head like that. Huh. So he's probably telling the story how his dad was doing it or something. I'm guessing in that picture, maybe. I don't know. Sorry, I'm going up to save the ones because I wanna so I don't have to go back through. No, there was one up here that I hadn't had. Where was it? Hold on 1 second. So that way I don't have to go back through this one. I didn't have that one saved from I missed this one. Okay. Um I don't think I have this one saved either. Sorry, guys. I just want to get these so I could put them in my podcast thing when I save it or when I do it for you guys. Okay. Let's see if there's any more. I don't think there's any more. I think Romy has one. Wait, there might be a couple more actually, now that I'm thinking about it. Hold on. Unless if that's the one on Romy. Yeah, that's the one on Romy's that I'm thinking of. Another one where he's kind of chubby. Oh, no, it's this one. That's the one I was thinking of. Morgan Pantuck says Nick's face equals priceless. I don't know who this is. I feel like this is on a movie set, some movie set. The girl seems like she looks familiar. I don't know who it is, but interesting. And then if you want to do just real quick, she only has a couple, but once we're here, we might as well do it. And then we'll get to the juicy articles, guys. Don't leave. We got a lot of good things coming up. I mean, interesting things, I should say. Okay, so let's just look through. She has a few pictures of Nick that we'll go. She has this one, which Daily Mail had. Such good siblings, somebody says. Richard Reiner says LA Coliseum looks so good. Who is this Richard Reiner? I bet you that's his brother. Is it Rob's brother? Because that wasn't his dad's name. Okay, it's probably his uncle. It's probably Rob's brother, I'm guessing. Okay, so I swear she had one. I guess it was just that one that we already seen from Daily Mail. But she doesn't. I mean, the last time she posted was on this 2020, but okay. So let's get to, I'll do the one about kissing on the lips, okay? I don't know how I mean, I had so many thoughts. Well, I had one main thought come to my head, and I'm sure it's what everybody has come to their head. Okay. Rob Reiner and son Nick would kiss on the lips and fight furiously. Actor reveals unsettling behind the scenes details from their 2015 film. Let me take a sip of my coffee. The one on the couch with his dad? Yeah. Are you talking about the one where Jake has his hand like this and Rob's on the couch next to him and he's in the middle? If that's what you're talking about, yes, that was Nick in the middle holding the beer. Doesn't look of age at the time, but I mean, people, dads will give their sons beer under, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that that's like, oh, a huge thing. It's just a thing I noticed. Okay. I feel like most of us could say that your dad, at least from my experience and my friends' experience, that your dad is the first person to give you a sip of beer, like a beer. Well, you know what I'm saying? Like when you're like, oh, you could have your first beer, your first sip of beer when you're just like a kid and you're like, oh, that happened, or is it just me? Um, okay. What headline, Flojo? Wait, what'd you say? Is that headline necessary? What headline? I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know. Okay, so here we go. For legendary director Rob, 78, and his troubled son Nick, working together on their 2015 film Being Charlie, served as a last-ditch effort to repair their apparently hostile relationship. 9 years later, the famed Hollywood filmmaker and his producer wife, Michelle Singer Reiner, 68, were found dead inside the Brentwood mansion on Sunday. Nick, 32, was okay. We don't read the repeat stuff. Okay. So they're talking about on the, film, Reiner and her son had collaborated on Being Charlie, a coming of age story about an 18-year-old with substance abuse addiction. Okay. The screenplay, co-written by Nick and Matt Elifsofin, I don't know how to say it, whom he met in treatment Wait, whom he met in a treatment facility, was inspired by Nick's numerous visits to rehab. Wait, hold on. Why can't I read that right? Because I'm looking in chat and I got confused. Um, I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, that's it. What are you talking about? What's it? Yeah, this article I've already had pulled. I'm confused what you guys are saying in chat, but let me read this again. Okay. I'm getting very sidetracked. Okay. So the screenplay co-written with Matt, whom he met in treatment, was inspired by Nick's numerous visits to rehab, the first of which occurred when he was 15 years old. The semi-autobiography, can't say that word right now, drama is said to have been Reiner's attempt to understand his son's battle with drug abuse. Insiders who worked on the 2015 project, however, revealed to the Daily Mail that Reiner and his son were constantly butting heads and bickering on set, despite the film's initial intent to bring the pair closer together. Eric Oddie, or Odd, however you say that, 45, was an actor in the coming of age film, but his scene was cut from the movie. When he learned that Reiner and his wife were found dead in their home, his shock over the news was immediately followed by one very grim prediction. I said, I bet you anything it was his son, he claimed to the Daily Mail. The stunt double recalled Reiner's unconventional dynamic with his son on Being Charlie. They were fighting and arguing with each other while they were on set. They were kissing each other on the lips, which was weird, Odd Oud said. They were bickering and going off on each other on set. It wasn't comfortable. There was definitely hostility there. Reiner and Nick did not shy away from showing their dirty laundry in front of the cast and crew members, Oud said. He detailed one alleged incident where Nick was sitting on a couch and Reiner was standing over the couch and they were just bickering back and forth. Oud explained the way couples fight, the way that couples would fight in front of people. They just don't care anymore about showing their dirty laundry, if that makes sense. That's the way the dad and son worked. Now, my first thought, whoa, that got stuck. What did that get stuck on? My head went to the Menendez brothers. That's where my head went and what happened with them. And it's like, oh my God, is this the same thing happening? It's such a similar story. If there was something going on, and then I'm thinking like, "Oh my god, was there like," so I told my mom about this, and she said, "Well, no," she goes, "I don't think anything weird about that because they're Jewish families kiss each other on the lips a lot." I'm like, "Yeah, but that's for, like, greetings, like, hi, hello, like, like you kiss when they see each other, but kissing on a set, like fighting and then kissing on the lips on the set, like, in that context, that'd be weird, like, if it read, "Oh, they greeted each other in family events and kissed each other on the lips," I wouldn't think anything weird because a lot of people kiss on lips, some families do that when they greet each other. That wouldn't be that odd, but in that context, being on a movie set, arguing, and then kissing each other on the lips, but then my head goes, "But if he was secretly abusing his son in that way, would he openly kiss him on the lips? If that was the case, would he do that in front of everybody? Like, kiss him on the lips? Because that would make people start to think, like, what's going on? Maybe have suspicion something's going on. Unless, you know what I'm saying? Because maybe it is innocent. He's just doing it because he's like, what? That's just what we do. He has nothing to hide type thing. Or was there more? Is that why Nick was so messed up? Is so messed up? I don't know. And then I'm thinking, Jewish man in Hollywood. We know that story. And I'm not saying anything against Jewish, but I'm saying like in that time period in the 80s and 90s and how they all ran the freaking industry and how it's coming out, how all these kids were abused like that by people of authority, of people making the movies, directors, writers, people, in that world that's controlling the acting and have control, power over like if the kids are going to get the part or going to do good or, and they're very, young and impressionable. And that's like the story of the 80s and 90s in show business. So it's like, is this another story like the Menendez brothers? Are we going to find out and it's gonna be like a replay. He's gonna get on the stand and tell this horrible story of somebody that was beloved, and he's gonna make everybody see him totally different. Because if there's a story to tell, Alan will tell that. That'll be his defense. I'm telling you, because nowadays they can, and I even agree. If Menendez brothers happened now, that trial, it would have been viewed totally different, and I think they would have already been out of jail because people are more open and they more are open to believing it happened. Like back then, they thought they were lying, and I know some people still think they're lying. I think they're telling the truth, but back then it was just like they're just that wouldn't happen to a guy with his son, and he was so well, like the family was so respected, and so people just didn't believe it. Now people realize this was going on, so more people are going to believe it if they could prove it, is what I'm saying. Now, if it's just a bunch of crap, they're just going to try to prove something that's not there. But if they could prove it and have some facts, they're going to be more prone to believe it. And I think it could have a different outcome if that's the case than the Menendez. But I don't know. I don't know if that's, I mean, I don't want to say, it just, when I read this, it made me think, wait a minute. Is that why his son's so messed up? Is there something going on here? Or maybe his son is just messed up and and that is just like a thing that I don't know. What do you guys think? I don't wanna say, I mean, he's so beloved, I mean, but sometimes it's like the ones you would never expect surprise you, and he was in the movie industry back in the time that all that crap was going on, people you would never expect. It's just a story we have already heard, like, it just seems so familiar with the Menendez. I don't know. Oh, I didn't even know Ricky Martin was weird. I don't know anything about him. Okay, maybe. Okay. Yeah, so my mom, she's like, I don't think anything of it." She thinks that it's just a Jewish thing, a lot of Jewish people do that, but, like, I could see it's but why on set? And it sounds like they're arguing, it's like, and then they can like, so it's like a hate, like, and they're arguing like couples, and they're, like, screaming, and they kiss. When on set, though, that's what confuses me. You'd think, like, at a family get-together or something, but, like, on a movie set? But then, like I said, using that same kind of reasoning, then if he was trying to keep a big secret, would he kiss his son on the lips in public if there was something more going on? He'd be scared to do that because then people would start suspecting. But if he does it and has nothing to hide because he's like, "No, that's just what we do," and he knows there's nothing to hide, then he would do it openly like that. So that's why I'm going back and forth what I think. Because a part of me thinks maybe, and then a part of me is like, why? No, he would not do that then. He wouldn't kiss people. He wouldn't kiss them on the lips. He would hide that because he wouldn't. See what I'm saying? Because that would just give people to be like, hmm. So he would not want to do anything where people started suspecting like that there could be more if he was keeping a secret like that. So I don't know. Just a thought. I hope it doesn't come. I hope that doesn't. That's not true, but it's just interesting. I guess we'll see. Because, like I said, I do think who. No, I know, Cassie, me too. Like, we especially growing up, like, I don't know if it was necessarily lips, but you kinda, like, kissed, like, and you kinda, like, on the cheek. I'm not saying that. I don't think it's weird that if they kiss to greet each other or something like that. I'm just saying in that context, it seems weird on a movie set. Unless if see, this guy made it seem like it was, like, weird. Unless if I wanna hear, hopefully he does an interview or something. Because unless if it's, like, when they first see each other, like, maybe, they're busy and they come on set and like, "Hi," and they greet each other, then that's not weird at all. But if it's just like they're arguing and you know what I'm saying? I need to know more about that. Is it when they just get in for the morning and they're saying hi? Then that could be normal because people greet each other that way. That could be normal. That could be in the right context. But I don't know, it depends. I wanna know more. Is it like after they make up? I don't know. I would wanna know more about that. But if it is after when they first get in, that wouldn't be as weird. So I'm not saying there are some families that do that. I'm not saying that that's necessarily a red flag. I'm just saying, number 1, in the context, I wanna know more. Number 2, it just made me think of Menendez, and my head went there, and that's why I'm saying, like, I don't know, maybe it's nothing, but what if we do find that out? Because remember how everybody was so surprised about the Menendez? Like, that was nobody believed it because 'cause they're like, "What? No, he's, like, well respected, he's successful, and he's, like, you know." And the whole thing about the whole male doing it to a male, that was unheard of, like, that what? No, he's married to a woman, like, why? Now it's like people are finding out how common and how much it was happening behind closed doors, but that surprised everybody, so I don't know. But no, I'm not saying kissing on the lips your kids is odds because some people would do it as that's just how what they do to greet. So I just wanna know more. Uh Yeah, like, oh, we used to I haven't done it in a while, but growing up, we'd always kiss each other, but it was, like, more like you not directly on the lips, but you kinda, like, put your face and you kinda, like, get close to the mouth in a way to just to greet growing up to, like, grandmas but it wasn't like a direct mouth kiss, but some people will do it. Like, my mom said she's heard, like, Jewish families would do it. It's common with Jewish families. I don't know. I didn't know that, but my mom said that. I was like, "Okay, well." So she said, "No, I don't think anything is weird about that at all." So okay, so I'm gonna move on. Did I read this already, this one? Oh, no, I didn't read it all. Let me finish. Okay. You guys definitely comment. See, I think it was, though. I think I don't have a doubt in my mind. I feel like those, and I know it's crazy because I watched the trial and I think that is real emotion. I mean, there's no denying it, but there's some people are like, no, I feel like they're lying. But I mean, other people coming out saying how the dad did it to them. I think I really think from the minute I seen that trial and watched them testify, I said, "Oh my god, these guys are telling the truth." But I know people have other opinions, so I really think it's true. I mean, Menendez, because the guy from Menudo or whatever came out saying he did it to him, and you know, family members. He was, the brothers had instances different times told different members of the family, and just them hearing, like, the things that went around on in, Eric's room, how it just all lined up for me. Okay, so Nathan Steven, also an actor from Being Charlie, was equally shocked by the tragic passing of the director and his wife. A self-described huge fan of Reiner told Nathan told Daily Mail it was his dream role to be able to work with the Oscar nominee. He acknowledged that Reiner had his own way of doing things on set compared to his son, considering Reiner's decades of experience in Hollywood. I'm sure he probably had some frustrations. Nathan suggested about Nick's working relationship with his father. There may have been some miscommunications, just as just his dad being the boss, Nick being his son, and of course, it is Nick's movie. There were probably some issues with that. I'd see Rob acting like he was frustrated with Nick. Wait, hold on. There may have been some that's what he said. There may have been some miscommunications. Just his dad being the boss, Nick being his son, and of course, it is Nick's movie. There are probably some issues with that. I'd see Rob acting like he was frustrated with Nick. However, Nathan said that Nick was always kind on set and noted that he didn't seem like he was on drugs at that point. Like I said, I just want to make sure I stress I'm not saying I think that. It was just a thought because I was like, what if it's like that same story, the Menendez, when I heard that? That's where my mind went. But I'm, like, arguing with myself, like, "Is it? No." Like, "No way," and then, "Well, maybe," like, we I don't know. I wanna know your thoughts in the comments, cause wouldn't that be something though? comes out and the trial's, like, so similar, like, he gets on the stand and it's just, like, Menendez all over with these horrible instances he tells that happened to him. Oh my lord, that'd be crazy. I just wonder now, like I said, with Menendez, everybody's wondering, like, if it was in this current time, it'd be so different. If this does come out to be that, like, we'll be able to see what it's like in the current time. I think it could have a whole different outcome if they'd have to prove it, you know? Anybody could prove it. Alan would be able to. If it's true, Alan would be able to prove it, I feel like. Okay. Nathan's brother, David Stevens, who also was an actor in the film, agreed that Nick was happy to be working with Reiner. He was really proud of himself. He was really proud to be his dad's son. He was just a lovely, joyful filmmaker, David told the Daily Mail. Isn't that somehow different people have different perception or different experiences with Nick? And it's very interesting. And they're probably all of them are probably telling the truth. It's just they got to see different Nicks. You know what I'm saying? Some of them got to see like the bad side of Nick, and some of them got to see this time where he's shining and he's happy and he's being like a normal person. He was being Charlie was an attempt to continue repairing the relationship by doing something together. He continued, when a family has their demons, which a lot of families do, some more than others, but when a father and a son get the chance to, I don't know, exercise those demons, not just in the story of being Charlie, but that a father and son could reconcile as well by doing something special like that. In interviews in the QA panels for Being Charlie that year, Reiner and Nick would speak openly about how their up and down relationship was impacted by Nick's drug use. The screenwriter admitted in the joint 2016 appearance on AOL's Build program that he didn't bond well with his father when he was younger. But working together on Being Charlie made me feel closer to him. Meanwhile, Reiner said that experience helped strengthen his relationship with his son. It forced me to see more clearly and understand more deeply what Nick had gone through, he said. It definitely brought us closer together. And it says both Reiner and Michelle also expressed regret at how they dealt with their son's addiction issues during 2015 interview. Okay. Okay, so some of this is just the same stuff. Oh, Michelle's added, we were so well, I guess I should read this. When Nick would tell us that rehab wasn't working for him, we wouldn't listen. We were desperate, and because the people had diplomas on their wall, we listened to them. And we should have been listening to our son, Reiner said of his son, who the family said had achieved sobriety at the time. Michelle added, we were so influenced by these people, they would tell us he's a liar and that he was trying to manipulate us, and we believed them. Nick, who said he had gone to rehab 17 more times as of 2016, also claimed to have lived on the streets after he refused to go back to rehab. Let's talk about being on the streets. Says he said at the time of Being Charlie's release that he hoped to stay off drugs so that he would never be homeless again. When I was out there, I could have died. It's all luck. You roll the dice and you hope you make it. But much has changed since the days when the father and son hoped the roller coaster relationship had finally turned the corner. Signs of tension began brewing in September when families photographed together for the last time at the premiere of Reiner's latest film, Spinal Tap. Spinal Tap, The End Continues. Nick, who was unsmiling at the camera, appeared alongside his parents and his two siblings on the red carpet. Behind the scenes, however, Reiner and Michelle were at their wits' end about their troubled son. The Daily Mail has now learned of a blazing row that occurred on Thanksgiving weekend. A family friend who was known Reiner for over 50 years told Daily Mail of some sort of fight on Thanksgiving weekend that was really bad between Rob and Nick. Nick, who had reportedly moved back in with his parents, was also spotted with Reiner and Michelle at a comedian Conan O'Brien's holiday party Saturday night, on Saturday night, where Nick got into a very loud argument with his parents. Just hours later, the couple's daughter, Romy, who discovered their bodies, reportedly told police that a family member should be a suspect because they are dangerous. Following questioning, Nick was taken into custody. Okay, so he first originally had a $4 million bail, then they put no bail. Okay. So oh, I'll read that, and I'll wait to do that because I want to read the ones I have first. But I haven't. That was a new one that I never had. Okay, so okay, let's do this one. So this one says, I knew Rob Reiner's monster son, Nick, his whole life. Family friend reveals his grunting and violent outbursts, how he always smelled, and sign everyone missed at age 11. Rob and Michelle's son was deeply troubled child who needed physical restraint for his rages from a young age, according to a family friend who has known the 32-year-old all his life. Nick Reiner, who on Sunday was arrested on suspicion of fatally stabbing his parents. Okay, so we're a lot of these. Sorry, I'm going to try to skip the repeats or the repetitive stuff. Okay. But the family friend told Daily Mail that Nick's issues began well before his teenage years and sadly suggested that Reiner 78 and Michelle 70 babied their son to the frustration of his siblings, Romy and Jake. The friend has spoken in the last 24 hours to Jake, a former journalist turned filmmaker, and said that he was beyond himself with grief. But Nick's uncontrollable anger was not new, the friend added. A lot of their fights had to do with him just doing something self destructive and fighting back when they tried to help him, the friend said. It did get physical sometimes. I'm not talking punches, but restraining him. I was over I was over there. It must have been early 2000s because he was about 11 and he was throwing the biggest tantrum. And Reiner just had him in a bear hug to restrain him. The tantrum was over nothing, but he had so much anger in his eyes. It was terrifying, really. And this happened a lot, and he never outgrew it. He had tantrums into his 20s. The family friend added that Nick was frequently at the Reiner's Brentwood home, which they purchased for a 4.75 million in 1991 from the director's mentor, famed TV producer Norman Lear. The storied six bed mansion, which Reiner described as his dream house, was first built for Oscar winner Henry Fonda in 1936 and then sold to Casablanca actor Paul Henreid. Nick would be an unpleasant Nick would be an unpleasant presence at the home, constantly smelling a weed and sweat, the friend said. He was a mess. I was over one time. This had to be 2 or 3 years ago, and he came into the kitchen, clearly high on something, grabbed some stuff from the fridge, and went back to his room, which was on the property. I said hello, and he just grunted. Michelle says, Aren't you going to be more polite? And he just grunted again and walked out. They had no control over him. When he was young or when he got older, he always was rude. He was always rude. Reiner, just whose reputation was cemented by films such as 1987's The Princess Bride and the 1989 classic When Harry Met Sally, tried to help his son through his own his own Hollywood clout. In 2015, they worked on the movie. Okay. Reiner's directed the film, and Nick co-wrote the screenplay with a friend he had met in rehab. In interviews, the father-son pair spoke positively about the experience with Reiner, saying it had brought them closer and helped heal wounds. Yet one of the cast members, Eric Odd, uh, told Daily Mail he found the pair's dynamic troubling. This is kind of repeating that other article. It says they were fighting and arguing with each other while they were on set, said Odd, whose scenes were ultimately cut from the film. They were kissing each other on the lips, which was weird. This is saying the same thing. They were bickering and going off on each other on set. Bickering and going off on each other on set. It wasn't comfortable. There's definitely hostility there. Okay, talking about not being shy about showing their dirty laundry. Okay. The incident about Nick sitting on the couch and Reiner standing over the couch bickering. They fight in front of people. His recollections were typical. The family said Odd's recollections were typical. The family friend. So the family friend is saying, hearing what this old guy said that's worked on this film with him, right? And he's saying, yep, those were typical what he's saying about them. Okay. Nick said horrible things to his father, but he would defend him to the death with anyone else, the friend said. Um, and Rob and Michelle were so protective of all their kids, but especially Nick. He was the one who gave them the most trouble. There were a lot of sleepless nights because of him. The drug use, the mental spirals. He was unwell a lot of the time, and they were doing whatever they could to hold it together for him, to anchor him. He just had so many problems. He was so troubled. They loved him dearly. Their intense focus of Nick irritated his siblings, Romy and Jake, the friend said. The Reiner or Reiner also said, or sorry, Reiner also had an older adopted daughter, Tracy Reiner, 61, from his first marriage to her mother, actor and director Penny Marshall. So like Nick's getting all the attention because he's such a problem child that they have to give all their attention to him. So it's coming at the expense of the attention that the other kids should get, right? This other siblings resented him because who got the most attention? Nick. Who took all their energy? Nick. And who did they baby the most? Nick. Rob was very much a stand on your own type of father, except when it came to Nick. He saw him as having an illness, a sickness, and babied him because of it. So he probably babied him because he's the one that needed it. He probably felt his other kids didn't need his help, and they didn't need it. They're doing okay. His other son's succeeding on his own. The daughter's probably doing well, so they didn't need that extra attention, is what I'm guessing. And he felt Nick actually needed it because he needed it to survive. He needed it to try to, if he ever was going to make it on his own. So, I mean, I'm sure his intentions were good, feeling like, I mean, he needed it, but it probably was. I'm sure the kids probably understood, but it probably did kind of like, gosh, man, like, what about us over here? This guy's treating you over and over, being a jerk, but I don't know. But the other kids were so good. They loved their parents dearly. They loved Nick. He was just the one who drove them to the edge. And the friend said that with hindsight, Reiner and Michelle should have been tougher on their wayward son. They wanted him to be happy and at peace, and they probably didn't have the tough love that they needed all the time, the friend said. But it was hard. He'd relapse. They'd give him a place to stay. He'd move out and then back in. They never got rid of anything because he'd leave and then they knew he'd come back. Either when he ran out of money or when things just got too tough out there, he'd be back. Okay. Now, let me do, hold on. I might do something else. All right, I'm going to play something real quick. Take a break from reading. Just wanted to see what I had left to read. A lot of stuff. I'll just have to be better at like skipping the stuff we already went over. Okay, so I want to play this thing real quick. Hold on 1 second. What is this? Oh, it's just that same thing. Okay. So I want to play this real quick because I want to show you something, my thoughts on it. So this is like all this surveillance because a little bit more kept coming out. Hold on 1 second. Oh, shoot. Pause that. Okay. So I'm going to wait to read that. Sorry, still have a bunch of tabs open. Okay, 1 second. Let me I'm going to reshare this because I am going to play something. And I want to show you what I think maybe, because I want to show you the map too. Okay. So let's start. Er, there. I collected all the surveillance, so I just wanna, play some of it because there's some new clips that came out. It's all this, kind of the same stuff, but there's a couple new clips, and then I wanna show you the map from the houses, how close Conan and how he could have been walking. All right.
We're going to begin with tough information, new
Let's play
information
this.
on the deaths of Rob Reiner and his wife, Michelle, and the arrest of their son, Nick. This is a family tragedy at this point. The newly released footage shows him in a gas station convenience store just hours after the killings and minutes before he was taken into custody. He is now charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder in the deaths of his parents, just to say those words. Jonathan Vigliotti is in Los Angeles for us once again. He's been on the story for several days now. Jonathan, good morning.
And Tony, good morning to you. Nick Reiner is being held here at this jail in downtown Los Angeles without bail. He is undergoing what we are told are routine medical clearances. He could make his first appearance in court for arraignment as early as today. New security video shows Nick Reiner in a striped shirt pacing inside a convenience store shortly before his arrest Sunday night. Outside the store, you see the LAPD arriving and arresting him. Police say he did not resist. Prosecutors allege the 32-year-old used a knife to fatally stab his parents, Rob and Michelle Reiner, in their Brentwood home. Nick Reiner is now facing 2 first-degree murder charges.
These charges carry a maximum sentence of life in prison without the possibility of parole or the death penalty.
It's still unclear when the alleged attack occurred and how long the couple had been dead before their bodies were discovered. The New York Times reports a massage therapist arrived at the Reiner home on Sunday. When nobody came to the gate, she called the couple's daughter, Romy, who arrived and found her father's body. The day before the murders, Rob and Nick Reiner got into an argument at Conan O'Brien's Christmas party. NBC News reports Nick interrupted former SNL comedian Bill Hader before storming off. Nick Reiner has been open about his struggles with addiction, recalling on a 2018 podcast one incident where he became violent while on drugs.
And I was up for days on end, and I started punching out different things in my guest house. I think I started with the TV, and then I went over to the lamp. Everything in the guest house got wrecked.
While promoting the film he made with his father, Nick Reiner said he was grateful for his parents.
Well, I think I'm lucky in the sense that I have parents that care about me, and because of that, when I would go out and do drugs and stuff like that, I'd feel a tremendous amount of guilt.
And close friends of Rob Reiner, including Billy Crystal and Larry David, put out a joint statement yesterday to the Associated Press, writing in part, and I quote here, Rob Reiner not only was a great comic actor, he became a master storyteller. His greatest gift was freedom. If you had an idea, he listened. He brought you into the process. To be in his hands as a filmmaker was a privilege, but that is only part of his legacy. As far as his son goes, he is represented by Alan Jackson. He is a high-profile defense attorney. Prior clients include Harvey Weinstein and Kevin Spacey. Gail, we reached out for comment. We have not heard back.
The more you hear, Jonathan, the worse it gets. It's heartbreaking. I think Tony said it best when he said it is a family tragedy. Mm-hmm. Jonathan, we thank you, and there's more.
Arrested, but we've seen that, but Exposition Park. But I want to point out, like I said before, something that's after, right before he gets arrested. So there's a little bit extra where that shows him walking in and then walking into the store. And then he gets arrested shortly after that. Or he's walking down the street, and then, I don't know how long after that, to be honest, but right here, I know we watched this yesterday, but they added a couple new things in there. And then I'm gonna play that one before that I think it's right after the party. I don't know why I think he's walking home from the party. Not here. I'll show you what I'm talking about. I did it late. I did a short really late last night or really early this morning on it. And then I'll show you why. I wanted to identify exactly where it was, and I just like I said, I think I was planning on doing that, and then that or the court thing happened, and it rushed me to hurry up and get ready to do that live, and I wasn't prepared, and then I forgot to do it. But I'm still gonna do that, where I'll show you what I'm talking about. I might be able to do it with you guys on the live, but we'll see. It's gonna take me a while. So yeah, he's walking in. There's another guy in there, walks out. So this is after the murder, because then he gets arrested here. All right. I wanted to play where's the other one from? Oh, these are all from after. I want to play the one from yesterday that I uploaded.
Breaking news, this video just in moments ago. It shows Nick Reiner being
bring mine up.
arrested
Hold on.
right near USC. You can see an LAPD unit racing to the intersection of Exposition and Vermont. Once an officer gets out of the car, you can see Reiner put his hands up. Moments before this, Reiner was seen across the street and inside a convenience store purchasing a drink. That's him there. This all happened Sunday night, hours after his father, actor-director Rob Reiner, and his mother, Michelle, were found dead inside their Brentwood home. Earlier today, Reiner was formally charged with his parents' murders.
Okay, so hold on. Let me give me 1 second. I want to get what I did. That one from before the murders. Hold on 1 second. Let me pull it up. And I'll pull up the map. One. Is it this one? I wanted to pull it up in my editor. Okay, here. All right, I'm gonna erase me. This is the short I did yesterday, but I was in it, so I'm gonna get me out of it for a minute. I just want to show you it, and yeah, I could just play the video I made or the original video, but I actually want to keep it in my editor because I want to. Here, I'm just gonna take away my audio too. Let's just watch. So this is the one that's actually from, I think it's from 12:17 a.m. that night. And if you remember, I actually end up quoting, right? I want to show you this real quick. Where is it at? Oh, that was in the part that I erased. Hold on. Oh, I must not have saved it after I added it. So I in my short, I have it where I find that part in the article where Erie. Hold on, I find the part in the article where it says they left after come on here, sorry. They left after around a little after midnight is when the sources say they left that party, right? This video of him walking, you could see the timestamps, 12:17 a.m. And I don't know why. Come on, what's going on here? There we go. Okay. So this is before the murder, before he checked in the hotel. I think he's walking home from the party. But the whole thing, because remember, they said he was wearing a sweatshirt, he was dressed casual, so he's kind of out of place because it was like more formal and he just was out of place the way he was dressed. I can't say for sure, but I'm thinking he had a bag, but I could see him bringing a bag to the freaking party because if he's using, he has to keep his paraphernalia and drugs and something. I could see him bringing it. Dressed inappropriate, maybe bringing a bag, maybe put it, hey, Conan, can I put it in a car? I don't know, put it somewhere, wherever, or I mean, who knows? So I think it's either, because this is 12:17, you can see the timestamp up here. 12:17 a.m. Sources say the parents left a little after 12. Now, they live really close. So if they're driving, it would take a couple minute drive, right? says 5 minutes to drive there. A little under 2 miles. It says 31-minute walk. Okay. So either they left without him, and then he like, "No, I'm just gonna walk home," or they said, "You're walking," whatever, and he's walking home right there, okay? Because they said this is near the house, and we're gonna find where this is at. It's not gonna be hard to do. I just wish I would have done it ahead of time. So either walking home after the party or already went home because it's so close. Not walked home, but maybe he did end up riding home with his parents. I don't know, or got a ride or something, and then got a bag at his house and left. So that's my guess, either walking home from the party or already been home, but walking away from the house after the party, went home and got a bag or something to leave. But my guess is I think he's walking home from the party. I think this is right after the party. That's what I think. Because the timing, 12:17, parents left a little after midnight. And I'll show you, yeah, I'm gonna look that up. Sinclair, that will be easy to find. Okay. So, let me show you. Well, let me just look at a couple more things. Which I know some people in the comments say, he's just walking. First of all, it helps us with the timeline. It shows us like, okay, kinda if he was in like some kind of state, just to kind of see his demeanor. He doesn't seem, he just can't tell if he's heated. Some people wear it on their body more. Obviously, he's not going to because he shows no emotion. But it's just interesting because I feel like it give us a timeline, especially if we find out he was walking home. All right, hold on one second. Hold on, give me 1 minute. I'm gonna bring up the map now. Hold on, of where he walked from. But I just want to see something. Was that real? I guess that was zoomed in like that. Okay. Okay. So I did screenshots because I don't want to uh dox anyone like Conan. Now, it wouldn't be a big deal to put their address because their address is out there now and they're no longer with us. So it's not really doxing because they're not going to be living. You know what I'm saying? They're gone, unfortunately. But Conan. So I don't want to dox them. So what I did is and I actually did a background search, like through the program I used that I paid for to get Conan's address. And I found him. So I got his address. And what I was saying on a live, it took me a little bit of research because for Rob's, they have the wrong address. So they tell you kind of like describe where he's at. And then I found one article that gave an address, but they actually gave the wrong address. They gave a house across from where they are. And I was confused because they gave the address. And I'm like, okay. And then I was looking at the aerial shots and I was looking at pictures of the house. I'm like, that does not match. So I was trying to match up his house. And it's kind of tricky to match up the aerial shots. And it's actually close. It's just right across the street. So they actually give kind of the wrong address for some reason, at least the article that I found. I mean, the other articles describe like, the block and stuff, but yeah, the one article gave the wrong address. Okay, so here we go. Let me bring this up. But I figured it out. So let me show you the screenshots of it where I bleeped out the stuff. Okay. So here is, you could go two different ways. So this is Conan's to Rob's house. So one of them is like 6 minutes, 5 minutes. No, I think one's 1.7 miles and this one's 1.6 miles. So I should say 1.5. When I say under 2, it's 1.6, 1.7, I think, if you go this way. Okay. 5-minute drive, 31-minute walk, 8-minute bicycle. So he definitely could have been walking home. Definitely. So that's driving 5 minutes, walking 31 minutes. Look, that one's 1.4 miles if you walk. because, you know, you could take an easier route. Sometimes you could take a different route. 1.4 miles to walk, 31 minutes easily. And with him being homeless, that's a cakewalk. Walking the streets, that's nothing for somebody that's like have been homeless walking the streets for, you know, you're a drug addict and drug, you know what I'm saying? Walking the streets for days, that's nothing. So I think there's a chance he walked home. Now, what I'm going to do is, so I don't have to feel rushed, I'm going to find where he was walking, but I'm going to play the interview while I'm looking. So I have it all ready for you and I don't have to worry about like, oh my God, I'm, you know, wasting your time. So I'm going to play, I kind of want to play the TMZ because I kind of really want to be observant for the other one. The TMZ, I just could listen. The interview, I want to be able to really watch it with you guys, like, and, you know, really give my all. So actually, I'm going to do the TMZ first. How long is it? Hopefully it's enough time. TMZ. Yeah, we don't have to do the whole thing. It's a podcast where it says Nick Reiner case explodes, death penalty on the table. I never seen these guys. Let's see if it's interesting. If it ends up being boring, you know, we'll you know, I'll change it and we'll watch the interview, but we'll start it and see. And then I'll identify that gas station. Okay, here we go. And then, like I said, that interview, I'm really anxious to watch with you guys. Haven't seen it yet, the one I'm talking about. Okay, here we go.
Cotton, who is on assignment.
He's
man.
out in the field.
He's in the field.
Doing what he does best, actually.
And he's covering the story that is just sort of swept through Hollywood that we're going to cover basically exclusively here. He's at the courthouse for Nick Reiner's arraignment today, obviously in the tragic Rob Reiner, Michelle Reiner double homicide case. So we're going to cover and catch everyone up on what's going on in that case, because there have been a lot of developments even in just the past 24 hours since we had the last podcast.
Correct.
Devin, where are we in terms of the charges against this kid?
So yesterday, he was supposed to be arraigned, right? Nick was supposed to appear in court with his attorney. He did not show up. So he was medically not cleared to appear in court yesterday. So it got delayed till today.
Yeah. So medical clearance, just to, you know, legally, in order to be arraigned and you appear in court, they announce the charges against you. You typically enter a plea of guilty or not guilty. You have to be with it. You have to be aware of what's happening to you. And not being medically cleared means something probably related to drugs still in his system that impaired his awareness, maybe an acute psychosis that led to all of this.
Because he was put on, which is pretty common in cases like this, he was put on suicide watch in jail. So I think at first you were thinking, okay, he's not all the way mentally there. But then I was seeing some stuff online that it actually could be that if there are drugs still in your system, that they'll take blood tests every day. And until those blood tests are clean, you cannot be charged.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds like what could be going on and lines up with, he has a history of substance abuse by his own admissions. That was causing a lot of strife in his family, may have been part of the argument he had with his parents at Conan O'Brien's holiday party. So drugs in his system are certainly going to be tested for before you appear in court for your arraignment, and that could have been the impediment. It could also be related. There could be a drug-induced psychotic state that you're in that you need to be cleared by a therapist and by a battery of tests and doctors in order to go in and be charged.
So Nathan Hochman, the DA of LA, came out pretty strong yesterday.
Yeah.
He held a whole press conference after the arraignment was canceled, essentially saying they're going to be formally charging him with 2 counts of first-degree murder.
With special circumstances.
What is the special circumstance?
So the special circumstances are, in this case, that he killed more than one person during the event. So 2 multiple deaths. And the reason that's important, obviously, first-degree murder is the most serious charge you can face. It is premeditated murder with malice aforethought. So that is a charge that carries possibility of life without parole. Now, if you add special circumstances in California, you can put the death penalty on the table. So these special circumstances make that available In California, it's
I was
very
going to
hard.
say, I thought in California, I was under the impression we no longer had the death penalty.
So it's a very complicated history that is technically
Oh, I didn't
available
even
under our statutes, that the death
know
penalty is
that.
available. But since 2019, Gavin Newsom said moratorium. There's no more death penalty that we're going to do here in California. And in fact, no one's been executed, I believe, since 2006. So it's been a very long time since California has done executions. But there's a symbolic or a gesture sort of that is, you can go for the death penalty. You can have a death sentence that doesn't get actually
he said
executed.
that they could possibly do that in this case.
He did say that, and you know, this is an icon. Rob Reiner and Michelle Reiner, they are Hollywood legends of a sort, and so this death has rocked this community, and it's possible that they would go for it. However, he was very, very liberal, very, very progressive. It's possible that Rob Reiner himself was very outspoken against the death penalty. I don't know. I haven't looked into that specifically.
As the DA, I know that this is just human nature, but like, shouldn't they be going for people based off of the crimes and not who like is involved? The fact that a celebrity
that's right, but the crimes are certainly heinous enough in this circumstance to make the death penalty something available. You also consult with the family, which he mentioned during his press conference, that they don't determine what move gets made. But if the family is like, we have 2 deaths, we don't want to also kill our brother, you know, because his sister was the one that discovered the parents. You could see them saying, he's a sick individual. He's obviously very troubled, but we don't want a 3rd death in our family. It's a very, very complicated issue.
I mean, can you imagine? You're talking about, you know, how everyone just in LA has been very heartbroken about the deaths and shocked. But like, not only did the family, like especially the brother and the daughter, have to essentially like witness all this, but now they're going to have to do a whole trial with their brother and relive it for months and months and months.
It's horrendous. I mean, this is a worst case scenario kind of thing. It's also just around the holidays when times are typically family oriented and warm. They were at a Christmas party when this blowout fight apparently happened. This is a very, very sad story overall.
So the other big thing from yesterday was who showed up to defend Nick Reiner, which to be honest with you, I wasn't very shocked on one end because Alan Jackson.
He lawyered up big time. Alan Jackson is a big name in criminal defense, celebrity criminal defense. He just represented Karen Reed, got her off. Karen Reed was a bit of a hero, though. People were in her corner. At least a large segment of the population thought this was a cop conspiracy and she was wrongly charged.
I think
that's
untrue,
but that's fair. But there was a lot of momentum in favor of Karen Reed. It's a very different situation with Nick Reiner. He also represented Kevin Spacey,
who was very
charges, who was very hated during the Me Too movement and so forth. Those charges were dropped. So he's a very effective defense lawyer. Obviously, he's in that constellation of the biggest guys, Mark Agnifilo, who just represented Diddy, Karen Agnifilo, who represents Luigi Mangione. So like there are a handful of very high power, heavy hitter criminal defense attorneys, and he's in there.
And
so this is a serious defense.
We got video yesterday of him showing up at the Brentwood home. Why I said I wasn't surprised is because he's obviously a very big attorney and he likes dealing with very high profile cases. So that doesn't surprise me that he would be involved. I guess what I was a little confused about was if I'm correct, he would be very expensive.
Very, very expensive.
So who exactly hired him? Because I don't really think, I mean, I don't know Nick's finances, but I don't know if he has the money on his own to afford Alan Jackson.
I would highly doubt it. I mean, we're speculating here whether Nick has access to some massive trust money. He was 32 years old. And when you're 32, sometimes you've come into money when you're 18, how the Reiners decided to distribute their money with a sort of ne'er-do-well son who had substance abuse issues. It's possible there were restrictions on access to funds like that. But I don't know.
Yeah,
I do know that he's gonna. It's a huge question whether he's being paid, how much he's being paid, whether he's taking a discount.
Who reached out to him?
Who reached out? This is a very, very high profile case, and lawyers like to make their name and sort of keep themselves relevant. And so this will be an interesting case. Obviously, there's going to be sort of potentially sort of a drug-induced psychosis, kind of like, you know, not guilty by reason of temporary insanity, things of that nature that are going to be sort of raised in this case. Maybe a Menendez brothers type defense. We don't know what he's got in store.
Are you? Someone sent around yesterday that it's like there's a certain law where if you kill someone, you can't get the inheritance.
They call them Slayer laws.
Slayer law.
Yeah.
So there's like a whole thing online that like if he is convicted of these crimes, like
he can't access your parents' money.
not going to see a dime. So that again just circles back to I just don't understand. I guess you need to know who's actually hired Alan, but I just don't understand how he's going to afford it.
It's going to be very
That's
difficult.
what I
Or
was
whether he's going to be asked
saying.
to be paid the full amount. I
Ow!
don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know the answer to those questions. Also, it complicates the collection of life insurance proceeds. Slayer laws. If there was any life insurance to be collected, you
Saying the
can't sort
same
of kill
thing.
the person.
How the heck is he going to afford this? He can't get his parents' money. Maybe he's thinking right now he has it, so he's like, "I'll hire this guy." But Alan would know better. That's a no. He's not going to get his money. Even if he gets it originally, they're going to take it back. I don't think they will because he already charged them, so he'll never even get it. So what the heck is Alan doing this like pro bono just for the profile? For the publicity. I mean, how is he going to afford it? Because Nick doesn't have any money. I mean, there's no way his family's going to pay for his defense. That's what I freaking want to know. I have the same questions, guys. It doesn't make sense.
Is sort of covered under the policy. So this is a very, very complicated case.
Yeah, for sure.
But he's in good hands if he's got him.
Yeah, and we will be seeing him today, hopefully in court arraigned. Not hopefully, but that's what we're being told is
He's
that
been
the
medically
arraignment
cleared.
is gonna happen.
Yeah, the medical clearance is a matter of time. You
Right.
do find a way to medically clear people either through a therapist or through these blood tests and urine tests with the drugs. And so he'll be arraigned and you're going to see him in court. We've obviously now heard a lot of the details that prosecutors are putting together in terms of what happened. He sort of goes to the Conan O'Brien party. They have this blowout fight. It sounds like he may have been ejected from the home where he was living with the Reiners.
That makes the most sense.
Makes a lot of sense. He checks into a hotel room early Sunday, right? 4 a.m.
Yeah, 4 a.m. So that was actually a big story we broke, and I think a big piece of this of everyone's trying to put together the timeline of after the Conan O'Brien party to when Nick allegedly killed his parents, and then where he goes from there, right?
Yes.
So we had to confirm that story that he had checked in at 4 a.m. to the Pierside Hotel in Santa Monica. So now we actually just put up a story where we have a little more information on, kind of setting up that timeline. So
But that Santa Monica hotel was before the slayings, correct? He checks in through the reception in the lobby. They say our sources are saying he looked a little tweaked out, a little off, but not covered in blood or anything like that.
Correct. So detectives arrived so that was on Sunday morning at 4 a.m. So then the following, you remember, the parents' bodies weren't discovered until 3 p.m. in the afternoon by the daughter.
A large stretch of time.
Exactly. So now what we're learning is robbery homicide actually went to that Pierside Hotel at 1 a.m. on Monday. So obviously they were probably trying to track where his whereabouts were when they found out that he was obviously a suspect.
Because the sister, upon discovering the bodies, called the authorities and said, "I think it is my brother and he's dangerous."
Correct. So when they show up at the hotel, they basically said they wanted to search this particular room 207, where he was staying. That's what the detective said. And they said they were searching for a murder weapon and additional evidence tied to the slayings of Rob and Michelle Reiner. So the crazy thing is that hotel staff actually believed that they may have cleaned up the room already and that they had disposed possibly of some evidence. We had reported that when one of the housekeepers was interviewed, she basically told police, "Yeah, I did discover some blood in the shower on bed sheets." And I think you think, oh, that why wouldn't you immediately report that? But if you're a housekeeper, in my mind, you see some crazy stuff in
hotel rooms have a lot of gross stuff.
And you're just like, okay, maybe this guy was bleeding all over himself. I'm going to clean this up and move on with my day. I wouldn't think I need to contact authorities, but that's basically what the cops were looking for. What was this blood and blood?
Apparently the sheets were hung up
on the wall, or over the window,
right?
Probably I would assume, so people couldn't look in and see whatever the hell he was doing, because so he was supposed to check out at on Sunday at 11 a.m. That's usually when hotel checkouts are,
but he didn't.
But he never did. He never checked out. They just, go up to his room and, start cleaning it up and whatnot. The other thing that we found out is that the hotel staff told police that he bought 4 non-alcoholic Heineken beers and a bottle of water from the lobby shop, which does track that he's sober. I guess the people thought maybe he didn't know if it was a non-alcoholic beer or not, but it's I would imagine this hotel lobby had alcohol, and I think maybe this may be just, I don't know what.
It's very interesting. I mean, then it sort of lends to the idea of what was in his system, or what is preventing the medical clearance. If it were drugs, if he's drinking non-alcoholic beer, he may have had drugs before then. It's unclear how all of this sort of
because
fits
to
together.
me it makes more sense that okay, he goes and is getting wasted,
Right.
but he's clearly still like he's buying non-alcoholic beer, whether we think he
knew
did
or
that
not.
on purpose or not.
Four is a lot of non-alcoholic beer.
Yeah,
it's an amount that like you're not just scratching
I
an itch that you
personally
like the
don't
taste of beer.
understand a non-alcoholic
Yeah.
beer. I get it for people who have substance abuse issues or alcohol problems, but it's like, does beer taste good, man?
Yeah, I don't know.
I would much rather have a fully loaded
That is
Coke.
weird.
I'm a
That's
nice tea man.
weird.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's interesting for sure. And it just shows that, you know, the cops were, I feel like a lot of people give the LAPD like a hard time with a lot of different cases. Like you're looking at the David case right now. That's the
Sure.
biggest thing. But in this case, I mean, I get it. They had a pretty obvious suspect, but I feel like they tracked him down pretty quickly.
I think that's right. I mean, these are extremely talented
6
professionals in a
hours.
very big city with very, sort of complicated cases all the time. I think it's pretty impressive in its own way. I want to talk a little bit about the activity at the party a little bit, because we did do, there's been stories out about how Nick was behaving at this holiday party before the blowout fight with his parents that everyone sort of witnessed. And Bill Hader was apparently at the party as well. He's the SNL guy, very, very famous as well. And there were reports that Nick was going around and asking people strange questions, making them feel uncomfortable. He was saying, what's your first name? What's your last name? Are you famous? And apparently got into it a little bit with Bill Hader at the party.
So he was, I mean,
This could have caused some embarrassment by his parents and led to the fight. We don't know, but that's an idea.
It really seems like, and again, we're only just, talking to sources and kind of trying to put together a timeline. But to me, it really seems like they go to this Christmas party. He was acting extremely strange. And he's having a lot of weird interactions with people. He got into it with his dad. I know some people are trying to say downplay the fight with his dad, but clearly people saw something happen at this party.
Yeah.
And I think just if you look at the chronological like timeline, it seems to me like whatever happened at this party was like a final straw because he was living at their back house. And
he checks into a hotel.
At 4. So the only thing that tells me is A, he got into a giant fight with them and was like, I don't even want to be around them. Or
was kicked out.
Kicked him out.
Yeah.
He had nowhere else to go.
There were some reports, and obviously a lot of this is speculation, that they said it's rehab or get out. And he said, I'm not going to do rehab or something like that. So they said, get out. And did so even after this holiday party. So it's possible that triggered him in some sort of way to commit these acts. This is all theorizing, though. This is, he's been charged, but you are innocent until proven guilty. It's a cornerstone of our criminal justice system. So we'll have to see how this sort of plays out.
Yeah, totally. And obviously we'll have a lot more tomorrow based off of what's said in court. I don't know how much is going to be said at the arraignment, but
should we go to some questions? We have digested a lot of information.
I know.
There's another story out there, obviously the Warner Brothers and Netflix and Paramount deal, but go to the website. There's more information about that, but it feels like a strange pivot.
We'll stick to just Rob Reiner today.
Yeah.
So we'll take some questions. EHC Bunny for real. Bunny for real.
I like that.
IMO, it's a crime of passion. Nick didn't plan it. It doesn't deserve the death penalty.
This is interesting. He's been charged, obviously, with murder in the first degree. It is just a lesser offense, is what it is. Crime of passion is typically a manslaughter charge where you're not premeditated. It's in the heat of the moment when you're having a fight. It doesn't seem to line up with what happened here, where he goes to a hotel and then goes back. If it happened right after the Christmas party during a blowout fight in Rob Reiner's home, that would seem like more like a crime of passion, but that just doesn't seem to line up with.
What about it if he went back to the house the next day or the next morning? I know the DA said that this happened in the early morning.
And then they have a fight.
And then he went there to like patch things up, and then something happened.
Completely. We don't know the circumstances of what went on in that home. Were they sleeping? Was it pure cold-blooded murder? We don't know. And that will come out during the course of prosecutors and law enforcement investigation and what they'll present to court.
The cherry on top 100. Will we hear probable cause info at this hearing?
So this is just an arraignment. This is here's
your charges.
Here they're announcing the charges, and he will probably.
You think he'll plead not guilty?
They think they have probable cause to charge him, and that's why the prosecutors bring you into court and they arraign you on those charges, and you may submit a plea of, I suspect it will be not guilty.
And he's held no bail currently.
And he's held on no bails. He's considered quite dangerous. There was just some report that it might be a very high bail amount that he couldn't meet.
Originally, it was $4 million, and then it got changed to no bail.
So no bail. So
Yeah.
he will be held, but you will see him during an appearance. He will probably say very, very few words. You'll see Alan Jackson there, but I don't expect this will be a large
I have
probable
a
cause hearing. I think
feeling.
it's going to be just
I have a
arraignment.
feeling Alan Jackson will say some stuff outside the courtroom.
I have a feeling there will be a microphone
Yes,
set up.
Yes. I'm just saying, if Nick has any remorse, he will plead guilty to avoid the DP and to spare his remaining family from going through a trial.
This is possible, I
DP,
suppose,
I've
but
never heard,
death penalty.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've
DP
heard
is usually.
I've heard DP used for other
DP
things.
is usually an acronym that yeah. So look, will he plead guilty? I think it's very, very unlikely. He has lawyered up with Alan Jackson. You don't lawyer up with someone of that caliber unless you're mounting some sort of a defense. And purely for leverage purposes, even if you had a public defender, a plea of not guilty is not uncommon. And then you sort of get to guilty through a negotiation with prosecutors. And that may happen with Alan Jackson. Alan Jackson's not going to want to lose a case that is so obviously tilted against his client. But we may get some indications of what he's planning
Did you
from
watch
press conferences
I'm
or what he says in court.
interested because did you not? I watched a lot of the Karen Reed documentaries and stuff.
I did too.
And his little whole war rooms where, I mean, he's
an incredible lawyer.
Like the strategies that he puts together.
Yeah.
I'm just very interested to see which one he implements.
He's meticulous and he's playing chess. I don't think he has a conspiracy theory here that he can work with about cops covering up a murder, but he's got a lot to sort of look through in terms of the substance abuse history and the relationship between the parents and what happened in the house. There's still a lot to tease apart.
Kimberly Luna, how is the other brother taking it? I can't imagine very well.
Yeah, no, this is fascinating. They had 3 children. Rob and Michelle had 3 children. Romy was the one who discovered the bodies.
Correct.
Obviously, Nick is the one who is arrested and charged with murder. And then there's like an older son named Jake. But we haven't heard from him. I haven't seen reports. Have you?
No.
I imagine it's a very, very difficult time in the family.
I'm assuming
Romy is traumatized, I'm sure.
The entire family has been, inundated with calls and stuff from not only loved ones, but also from reporters. And as far as I've seen, no one from the immediate family has spoken publicly or even, I don't even.
And he worked a bit in the industry, right, Jake?
Yes.
So I think there'll be this massive safety net of people in Hollywood, Billy Crystal, all the people that the Reiners touched during their life. Carl Reiner, his father, was a legend as well. So they will sort of swoop in.
They'll
make sure the kids are okay.
Exactly. They have
and they're not kids. They are adults. They're 28 and
then I think
in their 30s.
He's in his 30s.
Late 30s. Yeah.
Susie Q, is TMZ going to show the presser of Nick's court appearance? I'm looking for a live channel now. Why is LA? Oh God, that was asked. First, we'll get into this. I'm looking for, we are going to be showing a lot of coverage of the court appearance. I'm not exactly sure if they're allowing cameras in the court.
I don't know if there'll be cameras in the courtroom.
They'll allow a photo or a video maybe.
Yeah. Whatever is allowed, we will show.
Yes, for sure. Why is LA on his hat? So I get this all the time, my hat that I wear.
Oh.
So it's just a brand.
But it's not anti-Dodgers.
It means I'm like anti-LA. It's not the case. Charlie.
It's a cool hat.
I like it. I really don't like wearing hats. It seems kind of unprofessional, but we're here so damn early.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't.
You don't want to comb your hair. Yeah. Or you could just cut it like I cut it.
A lot of people were curious about your.
See me in this, dude. It was.
We're celebrating at all because they're like, you're.
Okay, so that's pretty much that. Interesting. Okay. I didn't get to absorb it as much as I was listening, but I was also working, getting stuff put together. So, but no, I got the gist of it. Okay. But I had a couple comments when they were talking, and I wish I would have made them at the time because now I forget. I was going to stop them and say it. I did stop about talking about how is he gonna freaking pay for Alan Jackson, but Alan seems like the type. Karen Reed, the first trial. Her parents, her family kind of helped her. She had some money saved, so she did pay a lot of money. But she went through 2 trials. So by the second trial, she didn't have any money. So I think from what I understand, he just kind of did it pro bono for her second trial. Like she wasn't able to pay for his work for the whole. So he basically put in 2 years of work and she didn't pay what he normally, you know what I'm saying? So he does it for the publicity sometimes. Hold on. Zeke is scratching here. I'll show you, but I found the Sinclair guys. Hold on 1 second though. You can see my doggy if you haven't met my doggy. Hold on 1 second. Zeke. Come on, babies. Come on, babies. Hey, come in, Bob. Hi. Oh, he went down. Bubba. Hey, come and say hi. Why you leave? He left before I waited too long. He scratched it. I didn't wait. Or I think it's because, like, usually he's pretty patient. He'll wait and keep scratching, but he probably heard me talking. He's weird. Like, he's so cute. Like, if I'm on, I could watch iPad and watch movies, and he's fine. He'll lay in bed with me, cuddle, fine. But if he knows that I'm talking to somebody on the phone or like sending a voice message, he gets mad. He'll leave. So, like, it's like, oh my God. Or if somebody's talking to me, well, I guess because I'm talking, but like, I don't know. He's so cute though. Okay. So I found the Sinclair. So now I kind of have a different theory because the Sinclair would not have been on, it's close enough to walk from either place, but it would not have been on his way home. Like, it's closer to his house than it is. Well, what I'm saying is, like, if he was leaving from Conan's, that wouldn't, unless if there's not a lot of gas stations open at a time, so he went all the way there to get something, but it just wouldn't have, it's not on the way from Conan's to his family's. So that makes me think, number one, he left if he walked, he probably left Conan's before midnight to get there at the time. Unless he left before his parents. Maybe they made him leave. He was causing a big scene, made him leave. So then their parents kind of got embarrassed. So they left after him, because we don't really know. We just know reports that he got they made him leave because he was acting weird. His parents left because they were kind of like, felt like maybe embarrassed in a way because, like, the big scene. But I think we're just assuming that it was them that left first, but I don't think it never really said. So what if he left before the parents? They made him leave, and then the parents are just like, this is like embarrassing, and they left. Because look, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Let me do the screenshots first, because I wanted to the address is okay. These are okay. Let me exit out of this. Exit out of this. Hold on 1 second. Okay. So this, and there's only the other Sinclairs are way farther. So this would be the only one, because the other ones, it has to be this one. So Sinclair, I mapped out Sinclair, Conan's place, Sinclair, his parents' place. Okay. So I did a bunch of different combinations. So from, all three of them. So if you go from Sinclair, I hope I did that in the right order. Sinclair, yeah, it has to be Sinclair to his parents' house to Conan's is a 45-minute. So for instance, if he went from here, there to there, it'd be 45 minutes. But I did another combination here. Hold on. So if you do, I did a couple more. So from Sinclair to his house, 11 minutes, half a mile, 11-minute walk. Okay. And if you do Sinclair to Conan's house, 32-minute walk, 1.4 miles. So you see his house is up here somewhere in the Conan. Let me bring that up so you can see what I'm talking about one more time. So it wouldn't be, because Sinclair's down here, house up here, Conan over here. Okay. So it wouldn't be, you wouldn't think, he walked there. It would take, I think that was like, did I do it from there to, yeah, about 30 minutes, wasn't it? Yeah, 32 minutes if he walked from there right to Sinclair. He may have. Maybe that's what he did. But that means he left the party before midnight to do that. And then maybe then went to his house. He had to have, though, because we know he was there at 12:17 a.m. So I bet you he did go right there. Or I guess he could have went home first, got a bag, because it wouldn't have been that much longer for him to go home and then there, add another 15 minutes. So that could be an option too. He went home, got a bag, and then he's in Sinclair with his bag. Maybe. That means he left a lot earlier at the party, or he could have went there. So either way, actually what this tells us, because it's how far, it's not right by Conan's house. I mean, I feel like that's definitely right soon after the party. That's either right after from the party, he went there, or he stopped at his house real quick and went there. Because I mean, a lot of times they're estimating times. If his parents left the party a little after midnight, it doesn't sound like, I wasn't under the impression that even if Nick did leave before, that he left way before, unless if they did, and I don't know. But I think that was after. I think he either went right there and had that bag at Conan's because he's maybe still using, so he had to have his drug equipment, paraphernalia, whatever he uses needs to use his drugs. And he was awkward. He was dressed inappropriately. I could see him bringing a bag. And it was supposed to be like this formal thing, but I could see it. And everybody's like, "This is weird. He got a bag," but like, I guess it's okay to bring a bag. People bring purses, but then, maybe leave it, or I don't know. It depends on how formal, because like it probably would be weird of a formal thing. But I guess you bring a bag and say, "Hey, can I leave this in a room? I have my stuff in it." I mean, I don't see how that would be a problem, but if he's carrying around drugs. But so yeah, there you go. 32 minutes this way, 11 minutes from the house to the Sinclair he was at. And if he goes to the house and then to Sinclair, it's 45 minutes. And now I'll bring up the map with just the Sinclair and I'll show you. Right. Okay. So here's the Sinclair now. And I checked it. I double checked it with the, oh my God. Good thing that was just, okay. The address that it doesn't matter because it's already public, that one. Okay. So, so the Sinclair, if you look, actually, hold on let me just do something real quick. Okay. Okay. So before, why is it doing that? Stop with those side things. Okay. So you'll see though, this changed from a different gas station. So if you go to this view up here, it's because it's Google Maps. If you go to, when they took the video, one of it was taken in 2016 when it was this gas station. But you see, that's from 2016. But you go from this one where it's, hold on, the more current one, it's hold on, it's still 20. Hold on, you'll see where it turns into Sinclair. Come on. And then this one, July 2025, Sinclair. Okay. So if you compare the video, he's walking up this road. So he's coming from here. And I'll show you what I mean. But I don't want you to be confused because that side is still showing the other gas station because it's an old picture. But that's where he's coming. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So if you look, okay. Shoot, it doesn't let me go minimize with it full screen. So I'll try to get it as big as, okay. So you see him, at least that's what I think is going on where he's at. So, because he's walking down this road and then he passes where that sign is. And then you see right there, he's passing in front of it, right here. Okay. So that's why I was matching it up during the thing. So he's walking from, I'll show you, he's coming from this street over here, going like this, and then going this way, right? Hold on, let me look at that again. Yeah. Okay. So walking up that road and then turning right here. So I think he's walking up. Okay, here's the sign for that. I think he's walking up that side road and then turning right here. Or you can't see where he goes, but he passes that sign, right? So to me, it looks like he's headed this way. Well, I mean, I guess it's tricky because that sign is like on an angle. So I feel like he could be coming out here to cross, even though he should be crossing up there. Or he could just come this way, but the video stops then. It looks like he's turning. Like to me, I'm picturing him come up and then turn this way. But I mean, we just see him just come like right here and it stops. But I think he's coming up this way and turning. Coming up this road. But see, back then it was 76 called. But I think he's coming up this road. Coming up this road. Oh, now it's saying Sinclair. Cool. Oh my God. Coming up this road. But you see image capture 2016. But he's coming up here, and this is Sinclair, and that Sinclair sign. Why does it do that? This Sinclair sign is right there. So he's coming up this road and then passing right here. Probably going this way, or maybe he just, I mean, who knows? It stops. Why won't it let me just come up this freaking road? Here we go. Yeah, coming this way. And that Sinclair sign is like right here. And he's coming up and then he goes like this. So yeah. And like I said, that's where it is on the map. So there you go. I think he definitely had to go there soon after that party. Because I mean, that's, you know, 30 minutes from Conan's place, 11 minutes from his place, walk wise. So yeah. What do you guys think? Like I said, all the other Sinclairs are too far out. It has to be this one. And it looks like it matches up with the video. I'm not doing a very good job at showing it, but I was comparing it at the thing, but it's making me mad. It's not going where I want to now. But I was doing it while that video was playing. So yeah. Let me actually do something really quick. Now, I'm not talking about before he got arrested or after he got arrested. I'm talking about not that gas station he goes in and buys the drink. That's not the same place, okay? So I could see somebody like, no, it's this place. No, it's the one before the murder at 12:17 a.m. That really small clip that came out where he's got the red bag. He doesn't have the striped shirt. It's a different hoodie or a different sweatshirt, I should say. And it's before the murders. It's 4 hours before he checks into the hotel. Okay. Now, the one afterwards where he goes and buys the Gatorade, that's the next night after the murders, the next whole night after he goes to the hotel and leaves blood and then he gets arrested. Okay. So make sure you guys don't confuse that. I'm already picturing the comments, people not arguing like, no, you're wrong. It's this. And then I'll have to explain I'm talking about the gas station before. I already know. I'm just used to what the comments where people, they don't watch the whole video and then you have to explain it. I wish I could just ignore those, but I'm one of those people that if somebody's misunderstanding or they're not watching the whole thing and they're missing a part, I have to sit there and write out the whole explanation. I know it drives me nuts. Explain it no, you're misunderstanding. Because I want them to know, the deal. Okay. All right. So now let's watch. I'm trying to click on that though, real quick. Why isn't it not? I'm afraid that I don't want to dox anybody. That's what I'm afraid. If you're wanting to just click on things, I'm being careful because sometimes when you click on that drop down, that side down, it brings up your saved addresses. And I'm just being careful because it's a hassle. I don't want to be doxing people. So that's why I'm not clicking on stuff where I'm just careful. I'm trying to get that street view, but where they put the pictures, but I'm trying to be very careful that it doesn't, and I can't do it. So hold on. Screw it. It's not that important. It's just a, gas station. We mapped it out. That's what's important to get a timeline. And there you go. Okay. So why won't it let me do that though? I have to, oh, huh. I might have to, there's some new stuff for, okay. I gotta remind me, there's a new stuff for the Google Maps I gotta learn. New things they offer. Interesting. I'm gonna have to mess around with that later. Okay. Now let me just exit out of that. Get that out of my way. Okay. No, I can just, I don't need that up anymore. All right. So next, let's do, I almost just want to read at least one more article so then I can get, before we do that interview, since we got a break. Okay, 1 second. Which one? In 1 minute. Let me see which one I want to read. Something where I'll try to find one that has a. Well, this has a couple extra little things. We'll skip around. I'll try to do better at skipping those repetitive stuff, and we should be able to move through this stuff quick. Because these next articles, there's only like one little thing in each of them that's kind of maybe a new detail. Okay, so this one is page 6. Okay, so basically saying how he basically, had behavioral issues from an early time. So that Alana Zabel, that one that wrote the book, there's a couple of little extra details that wasn't in the one that we read already. So it says, well, he interrupted all the yoga sessions, which we already read. She said the disruption lasted 20 minutes or so. The outbursts were intense, involved a lot of screaming. Okay. And then she has a degree in child development. And Rob and Michelle asked her to do yoga with Nikki, hoping it would calm his seemingly heightened nervous system. She agreed, describing Nick as a little boy with behavioral issues who was always upsetting everyone, but trying to figure it out. Boys are wild in general, not just Nikki. She made sure to note, and so I would always focus on the physicality. Let me teach him how to do a handstand. Let me teach him how to do crow so he can feel this sense of accomplishment in his body. I really focused our sessions on trying to exhaust him so that I could get to the place of connection and mindfulness, she went on. But I really got there because he was just inexhaustible. That's crazy. Wow. Zabel recalled Nick being unusually energetic and wondered whether attention deficit hyperactivity disorder was ever at play, as children and teens with ADHD are more likely to abuse substances. Nick has been battling drug addictions for more than half his life. The kind of energy requires a lot of disarming, Zabel stressed. But I know a lot of kids who were of that intensity who turned out to be well-adjusted adults. Oh, has a history of violence. Half his life has a history of violence, it says. Okay, we read that. There are many variables to consider when it comes to child behavior, including genetic components. I've witnessed children and Hollywood personalities have a really difficult time because they're living in a fantasy world. The parents are prioritizing many things, including them, but there's often a perception of negligence, she said. Then living in a major city where drugs are so accessible, you can use the name of someone and it can lead kids down the wrong road if they don't have the right guidance. Okay. And it says in Nick's case, he did have the right guidance. Rob and Michelle did everything in their power to help their son. She claimed they tackled his problems head on, even though they were passionate people. They were people with very demanding lives. But Nick chose a negative perception of his circumstances and took on a personal neglect, Zabel claimed, elaborating that he had an egocentric mindset. She opined, I really think he took on a lot of things that he didn't need to. Zabel's experience with Nick inspired her to write the children's book, A Chair in the Air, about a story with A boy named Nicky, full of big feelings and even bigger energy. I know that some of the stuff I am rereading again because some people are just adding, but I'll try to skip over a lot of the repetitive stuff, I promise. Okay, yeah. Well, I won't reread that. Okay, so that's done. I just want to get a couple of these out. Let me do which one? Trying to find one that oh, what is this? This is the one I haven't read yet. Remember, I saw that when I was reading the other ones. Rob Reiner's issued a honey message to his son Nick in deeply personal film based on his addiction struggles and their tumultuous relationship. What is it? When is it? Is it just maybe it's not what I was thinking. Um Okay. At one point during the dinner talk, turned to one particular line in the film that Rob had really wanted to be included, but Nick was less sure about. The project saw Nick Robinson cast to play Charlie. So they cast this Nick Robinson to play Charlie based on Nick, while Carrie Ells played David based on Reiner. In the film, which received mixed reviews, Charlie resents the harsh way his parents treat his addiction, enforcing mandatory stints in rehab. The line from the film Rob really wanted, including there. Hold on, let me read that over. The line from the film that Rob really wanted included was from the dad character Dave to his son Charlie, saying, "I'd rather have you alive and hating me than dead on the streets." So Rob wanted that in, and okay. Let's see what Nick said about it. Journalist Steve describes the conversation about the line being included, saying Nick didn't seem so happy that Rob had insisted on it. He writes of the moment they spoke about the particular line. Rob really, really wanted it in. It explained how he felt, even justified it, even though he was now apologizing for thinking that way, for being so hard on his son. I looked over at Nick. He didn't seem so happy to have the line in the film. It was perhaps too excusing of the kind of parental pushing he didn't want to excuse. That's interesting. I'm gonna have to really think about that and absorb it and analyze that in a way and maybe comment on that in the next live. Because like I said, I just reading, I haven't seen this yet. Huh, that's very interesting. Like that might be a deep, like to really understand, like, okay, well, he wanted it, but why did Nick so not want it? There's definitely some obvious answers, but okay. And back in 2015, a journalist for the LA Times named Steve Zichik met with Rob, his wife Michelle, and Nick for dinner amid the Toronto International Film Festival when they were promoting their joint project called Being Charlie. Okay. During the dinner, Stephen writes that Nick seemed unsure in general about the film being released as it was based on his real life struggles. Huh. Stephen wrote of Rob, at dinner, I saw a man who wanted so badly for resolution to be true, for reconciliation to find its way to them, that maybe he was pushing harder than things should be pushed. That maybe he was trying to will his son into someone he couldn't be. Nick is now being held in jail without bail. Okay, let's see. His struggles with addiction began in childhood. Okay, let's see. Nick turned to writing. Discussing the film, Nick previously shared, it's not my life, but I went to a lot of these places. So I had a lot of these stories. I know like on how his experiences tallied up with the screen, Nick continued, I was homeless in Maine, I was homeless in New Jersey, I was homeless in Texas. Spent nights on the street, spent weeks on the street. It was not fun. He explained that he was on the streets when he refused to go back to rehab. Okay. I could have died, he says. Okay, let's see. I met crazy people out there, so out of my element. Now I've been home for a really long time. I've sort of got acclimated being back around my family. Okay. This all the stuff I already read earlier. And this was if you guys watched that interview. While Nick did not answer when they're talking about the relationship now, Reiner said that we didn't set out for it to be cathartic or for it to be therapeutic, but it turned out to be that way. Okay. Oh, it says he added there was disagreements and at times it was really rough when the pair were trying to figure out how to depict the reality of their relationship at the movie. To which Nick confessed, sometimes it would get overwhelming for me. Yet Reiner noted that their relationship had changed for the better. To be honest, by the time we got to the point of making the movie, it didn't matter if we actually did, he mused, because our relationship had gotten so much closer. During the release, Nick's main priority, where it says Nick said his priority was remaining sober so that he would never return to the streets. Also reflected on the bond he had with his father. He really liked baseball. I like basketball. Oh, I thought he said he liked. Oh yeah, wait a minute. Oh, it's Nick. I thought it was. Oh, in my head, I was thinking Nick said he liked baseball and his dad liked basketball, but his dad liked baseball and he liked oh, okay. Because remember they're at baseball games and him and his brother had pictures of baseball games and I was like, oh, maybe him and his brother bonded over baseball because his dad liked basketball, but it was the opposite. His dad liked baseball, he liked basketball. Okay. That's such I don't want to say childish, but the fact is it's like, oh, so you're asking like more of a deeper question and like it just kind of shows you his maturity, like emotionally. It's like the one thing that he's so like passionate and so important is like, oh well, yeah, we don't really bond that much because he likes baseball and I like basketball. It's like, huh? You know what I'm saying? It's a very like you think like I don't want to say childish, but do you guys see what I'm saying? It's like very like I don't know what the word is, but it just tells a lot that's the thing that stuck out to like if they bonded, if he bonded with his father growing up. That's I mean it makes sense. I mean growing up, but it's interesting. Okay. So yeah, this is all just stuff I had read either in this live or the last live. Okay. So another one down. Let's see if I could find any other like quick little things in these articles so I don't have to just keep reading the same things. Hold on, let me just scroll through this because I know there's just something, maybe one thing in each thing at least that I haven't talked about yet. Oh, this one we might be able to just skip through or skip this one. Saying the exact same thing we just read, but titled differently. Wow, that's crazy. Because usually there's at least one thing, but no, this is just the exact same thing. Hold on. Yeah, that one. Cool. We can knock that off the list. Okay. So let's do this one might have something. Let me see. This one's called The full story of Nick and these murders is so much more than and unbearable than everyone thinks. Even Hollywood wouldn't dare to write it. Okay, let's see. What is that all about? I forget if there's. Oh, that's interesting. So it says, as Daily Mail exclusive reported, police sources say it appears Nick may have waited until his parents fell asleep before stabbing them to death. So I didn't know the police said that. I feel like I missed a lot of what they were saying in the press conference because I was busy doing. I feel like I was doing something while that was on, and trying to get the right one, and it got turned off. Yeah, but anyway, so if they said that, it was probably because maybe were in bed or the hours or whatever. But so they think that he says police source said it appears Nick may have been waited till his parents fell asleep before stabbing them to death as they lay in bed. The symbolism is unmistakable. He was shutting them up permanently. The collective reaction in Hollywood and beyond is shock and heartbreak. Wow. So they were devoted parents, tried everything. They only maladjusted one of the four otherwise stable, loving siblings. Nick and his issues poisoned the family, close family friend said. Wow. They had no control over him when he was young or when he got old. And they said the 11-year-old Nick, they had to I remember Rob physically restraining him with a bear hug, throwing the biggest tantrum over nothing. So much anger in his eyes, which I had read that already. So much anger, they said, in his eyes over nothing. That was when he's 11. Man, it's so sad. Wow. Anyway, all right. Son was unappreciative. Somebody said, "Why we read that? I read that yesterday. How he's a nepo baby, spoiled kid to a T. Loved his son because he's doing this movie for his son. His son was unappreciative. Perhaps that was the issue. Nick was only ever going to be the son of. Perhaps it was never more clear than on an actual film set, working with his award-winning, incredibly gifted father, that he would never measure up in the industry or elsewhere." Okay. Then it goes on to talk about other people. Okay. Oh, wait, let's see. That's the one where it says he would kiss his adult son on the lips on the set of Being Charlie. I don't know. I did want to just show you this one. The Bill Hader article says Bill Hader's extreme sadness as he breaks cover after tense chat with Nick Reiner at a party just hours before grisly murders. So 47-year-old comedian looked tense while pacing back and forth during a phone call in Los Angeles. He's horrified and extremely sad over the murders, the source says, and doesn't want to be connected to this story. That sucks because now he's connected because of that. He doesn't want this tragedy to be made about him and any disagreement he may have had with Nick. Bill's refusing to talk about it, the insider said. Here's him talking after this, like recently. They had, wait, there's more pictures. Hold on. Everyone who saw Rob and Michelle at the party is horrified over what happened and is extremely sad that what went down actually went down, a source told Daily Mail. Wow. He's not going to be he said he's, with total respect for Rob and Michelle and their family, Bill is not going to talk about his interaction with Nick publicly, the source added. Hader does not want to be connected to this story over a few-minute interaction at a party that was meant to be a fun and festive. Hader dressed down on Tuesday wearing black sweatshirt with an orange logo, black sweatpants. He was disheveled and he sported a salt and pepper beard. Reiner reportedly had a very loud argument with Nick at the party. With a witness recalling Nick, who has a damning track record of alleged violence and substance abuse, was acting erratically at the bash. And about him interrupting Hader, and at the part, his dad introduced him to Hader. Supposedly, Hader said he was busy in a private conversation. He probably, like, you know, hey, he did the exchange, I'm guessing, and then maybe he went up to him and wanted to talk to him at a separate time. I don't know. And then Hader said, hey, private conversation. Little baby Nick freaking stood there for a minute, stared, and then stormed off. Because he just said he was in the middle of a private conversation. It probably wasn't even meant to be rude, but he was probably in the middle of something, and it was like private. You know, sometimes there is private conversations. He probably took offense to it, you know. Especially if Nick was acting weird, he probably was like, oh, hold on, like, I'm not going to include you in this conversation right now. Okay, so let's watch that interview now. You guys ready? Oh, wait, here's a couple things. Hold on a second. The unsettling interaction concerned the partygoers. A representative for Hader declined to comment. Reiner reportedly brought Nick to the holiday party to keep an eye on him. Guest at the A-list packed holiday party said Nick displayed antisocial behavior, including staring at attendees. At the party, sources told people that Nick was acting crazy, and it kept asking people if they were famous. The late couple daughter, Romy, who lives across the street from their home, made the grim discovery of their dead bodies the following afternoon. Nick, who lived with the parents at the guest house, was arrested. Okay, hold on. And they raided the hotel room, shower full of blood all over the bed. Jackson told reporters outside the courthouse that he did not know what the medical issue was, but he said Nick would not appear before Wednesday. Okay. I think that's all. I think we covered it all. I think there's a couple more articles, but I think it's just repeating everything. I want to watch the interview now because I haven't watched this interview yet. So I was just seeing if there's anything else. They're just talking about Alan Jackson and yeah. Next time, if I have time, I'll go through all these articles and just pick out the new stuff in each one. Save time. But I just, after I did that press conference too, I was just like, felt like I don't know. I already said I was going right away. So, but no big deal. I mean, we speeded through it. We got through a lot. So let's watch this interview, right? Let me just, one more thing though, because the Billy Bush thing, here's a New York Post again that says this, and I just want to show you that a couple of sources are saying this really quick. Grim details reveal Rob and wife were dead for hours. So at least several hours worth rigor mortis already appearing to have set in. So I think that guy was wrong. I really do. State of decay generally begins 2 to 6 hours after death. Okay. Yeah, because I think it happened in the morning before 11 a.m. I think it happened around a little after 4 or 5 or something in the morning. So that's why rigor mortis. Because I mean, I think they didn't find him until 3:30. That's just my opinion from everything I've seen. That's kind of what I think. Okay, here we go. You ready? Here's the interview. And this is Matt. This is his friend that co-wrote it. Okay. Have you guys seen this yet? Because I haven't. Are you ready? I might have to reshare it to share the audio since hold on, give me 1 minute, guys. Sorry. Sorry. Let's do it. Share screen. Entire. I'm going to use the bathroom. I've had to go. Oh, I drink all that coffee. Okay. But I can still listen. Hopefully, I don't miss any body language stuff. Okay. Here we go.
Thank you very much. Thank you for coming.
Put a 1 if you've seen this already and a 2 if not. I always like to get a feel of how many people have seen it. So 1 if you have and a 2 if not. All right, here we go.
I'm going to introduce this is Matt Ellisophan, and that's my son Nick Reiner, and they are the screenwriters. They wrote the film. And so we're here to talk to you guys, and thank you for coming so much to see this film. It's a very personal film, the most personal film that I've ever been involved in, working with Nick and Matt and drawing from our own experiences and what we went through, and hopefully we can share that with other people, because what we've discovered is that there's hardly a family that doesn't have somebody that's struggling with some type of substance abuse, or a friend or somebody that they work with. So hopefully people can connect with it in a way that'll be helpful. Just hearing this was not exactly autobiographical, but it does draw from our experiences. This is closer to what we experience. But anybody who has any questions, I'll answer, or the guys, however you want to do. Okay, that's it. Oh, yeah, here we go. Yeah.
Did you ever start out with the movie being about perhaps autobiographical in the sense that the father figure was a successful movie producer, director? Did it ever switch? How did it get to be a politician, to be the father character?
Well, first of all, it wasn't initially, there wasn't even a father and mother in it. Initially, these two guys met in rehab, and they started writing notes and characters that they came across, and I had no idea they were even working on it. Initially it was a half hour comedy that they wrote for television, and it was all set in the rehab. No, the parents weren't involved. And they showed it to me, and I thought it was funny, but I didn't think it really captured the emotion and the depth of what they had gone through. So they went back and they rewrote it and made it into an hour comedy drama.
I thought that was kind of interesting. Am I on mute? Hello? Can you hear me? It sounds like I'm on mute, but I'm not. Can you guys hear me real quick? That is so weird. Dude, you know what else is weird? Wait a minute. Hold on a second. I got to see something really quick. Can you hear me though? Oh, there it is. Okay. Okay. I just want to remind you, see, so I do believe this was on set, but can you hear me real quick? That's weird. It sounds like in my ears that it's on mute. But I just want to show you that that's that. You could tell it's the same guy, right? So I think this really was on set, the co-writer. And I just realized something. They met in rehab. So he probably wasn't that guy that I thought he was. See, I thought he was the friend. I don't want to say what happened to his friend, but like an old friend, like from high school. And he didn't go to rehab with him, but it was always a friend he called to help pick him up from rehab. But now that I'm seeing that, they met in rehab, and I'm thinking, I bet you this is the friend from rehab that he met. Ah, okay. That makes sense. So the other one did die probably in real life. Sorry, I hope it's not a spoiler, but because I was confused because that was something so big and so real that it had to have really happened to him. I feel like, since it was like an autobiography, you know what I'm saying? Like, that probably really happened. He lost his best friend to drugs, but I was confused because I'm like, this guy's still alive, and I thought that's who he was portraying. And you could tell, or what am I saying? because he kind of has that look, but no, he's portraying the other guy in rehab. Okay. Okay, here we go. Sorry. I hope I didn't spoiler alert, but I just wanted to explain. It's still not a spoiler. I mean, I feel like it's not, it's just it is just like it's mostly revolved around him. So, okay, here we go.
We tried to set it up at some, TV places who couldn't do it. And then it was at that point that I suggested maybe we can make a film out of it. And that's when we introduced the idea of the parents, because we wanted to show it from both angles. And I think that the reason we made it a guy who was an actor and a politician is because it close.
Whole thing of why I stopped it because the reaction I wanted to show you, the friend's reaction. So when he says that, when Rob's talking about how they wrote this thing that's supposed to be like a comedy, like a half-hour thing, show or whatever, and that it just didn't have the heart and soul or whatever. There's a reaction from the friend. It's almost like a reaction, like he's like, oh, like a laugh, like he's like almost offended that he said that. Like, what do you know? That's how I got it. Tell me what you think of this reaction. Hold on. Where is it at?
Back and they rewrote it and made it into an hour comedy drama. We tried to set it up at some, TV places who couldn't do it. And then it was at that point that I suggested maybe we can make a film out of it. And that's when we introduced the idea of the parents, because we wanted to show it from both angles. And I think that the reason we made it a guy who was an actor and a politician is because it sort of closely mirrors what I, have been through.
I didn't rewind it enough. I'll fast forward it back, but I want to see, because sometimes if I rewatch something, I'll see it again. I'll be like, okay, wait, that's not what I got. Like I miss it. I want to rewatch it. And you know what I'm saying? You get a different feeling. Oh, I misunderstood that now that I'm rewatching it again. But so I just want to see his reaction again. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not going to stop it a bunch, but I just wanted to point that out because it was just stuck out.
Sort of close.
Hold on. Oh my God. Okay, here we go.
They work with, so hopefully people can connect with it in a way that'll be helpful. Just hearing this was not exactly autobiographical, but it does draw from our experiences. This is closer to what we experienced.
I didn't rewind
but
it
anybody
enough.
who has any questions,
I still didn't rewind it enough, I don't think. Hold on, guys. I'm sorry.
This film, a very personal film, the most personal film that I've ever been involved in.
I don't know where's that.
Nick and that, and drawing from our own experiences and what we went through, and hopefully we can share that with other people, because what we've discovered is that there's hardly a family that doesn't have somebody that's struggling with some type of substance abuse, or a friend or somebody that they work with. So hopefully people can connect with it in a way that'll be helpful. Just hearing this was not exactly autobiographical, but it does draw from our experiences. This is closer to what we experience. But anybody who has any questions, I'll answer, or the guys, however you want to do. Okay, that's it. Oh, yeah, here we go. Yeah.
Did you ever start out with the movie being about perhaps autobiographical in the sense that the father figure was a successful movie producer, director? Did it ever switch? How did it get to be a politician, to be the father character?
Well, first of all, it wasn't initially, there wasn't even a father and mother in it. Initially, these two guys met in rehab, and they started writing notes and characters that they came across, and I had no idea they were even working on it. Initially it was a half hour comedy that they wrote for television, and it was all set in the rehab. No, the parents weren't involved. And they showed it to me, and I thought it was funny, but I didn't think it really captured the emotion and the depth of what they had gone through. So they went back and they rewrote it into an hour.
Tell me that I get more of a feeling that's exactly what that reaction was. Just like, pfft. Did you see that? His friend? Come on now. Wow. Hey, friend. I just have news for you. If it wasn't for this guy you're sitting next to, like, you would have no movie. I mean, I hate to say it, but like that was kind of uncalled for. I mean, I don't know. I just find that uncalled for some reason. That just didn't sit right well, especially that's like some guy that's not even his kid. Let me just rewind it one more time so you guys can see. Watch his reaction when he says about it didn't have the depth.
To me, and I thought it was funny, but I didn't think it really captured the emotion and the depth of what they had gone through. So they went back and they rewrote it and made it into an hour comedy drama. We tried to set it up at
No
some,
reaction.
TV places. We couldn't do it. And then it was at that point that I suggested maybe we can make a film out of it. And that's when we introduced the idea of the parents, because we wanted to show it from both angles. And I think that the reason we made it a guy who was an actor and a politician is because it sort of closely mirrors what I, have been through. And that's, I think, why we did that. So what else, anybody? Yeah.
I thought the movie was edited really well, and I'm wondering if you could tell me a little bit about the editing process with your editor, Bob Joyce.
Do you know Bob Joyce?
Yeah, he's like a mentor to me the last 6 years, and I was just wondering, he was sort of a teacher to me, but I know that working with you probably taught him a lot about.
Well, I'll tell you something. Bob is one of the, I virtually all the films I've ever done up until the last two were with a fellow named Bob Layton, and he couldn't be available for this. And the one I just did about LBJ, and Bob Joyce edited him, and he's as good an editor as I've ever worked with. I mean, he's really talented, and he does something that I've never done, and now that he does it, I will do it from now on. He will take pieces of music. He'll cut scenes to music to give it a rhythm. I usually cut a scene and then add the music in after. I mean, this is temporary music, obviously, when you're in the first stage. And he'll cut a scene to music, and it gives it another life, and it gives you ideas for choices that you may not make, except for the fact that the music fills in something and gives it a little emotional thing. He's great, and he also, like I say, worked on this other picture that I just finished called LBJ with Woody Harrelson that's coming out, and he's as good as anybody I've ever worked with. So I'm glad you were talking about Bob Joyce, who I just saw out in the Valley. We did a thing out in the Valley and he lives out there. Yeah, anybody? Yeah, over here.
Were you guys in rehab more than once?
That the boys can talk about that. Go ahead. She asked if you had been to rehab more than once.
I was only there with the one time. I've been more than once.
It's hard to kick, huh?
Sometimes it can be.
How many times have you been? How many times have you been in and out of rehab?
I'll be honest, it's been like 17 or 18 times.
Really? How old are you now?
Me? I'm 22.
And you started when?
Who's talking? Where are they? Oh, right back there. Okay, great.
I started when I was like almost about to turn 15.
He was there
for like 19.
Yeah, from like 15 to 19.
And yeah, it's like been 3 or 4 years. This doesn't even work, I don't think.
Yeah, it's working. It's working.
Can I ask you one more question, Nate? So what was the turning point for you? What really made the difference for you?
Well, during those years of like 14 to 15, my parents were on top of me. And I think it's hard for a parent not to when your kid goes through that, because, and I don't know what it's like firsthand, but I wasn't understanding of them that they were really worried for me. And I was just like, why are they disciplining me so much? And they was just like helicoptering over me the whole time. And then later on, when I was an adult, like, which is 19, it's not really an adult, but it's legally an adult, I could then make my own decisions. And they stopped, not stopped caring, but they stopped putting, so much hands-on attention towards me. And that sort of made me feel like, okay, no one's watching me, no one's helping me, I should probably figure this out for myself. And he can tell you about this, like just like with the writing, that was our replacement of, drugs. Because it's not just drugs, it's a whole lifestyle that you get immersed in. Yeah, and I think a big turning point for us was the creativity, and like you see in the movie, Charlie finding his voice and finding his outlet and stand up and just being able to get up on stage and being okay with yourself. Like stand up for Charlie was kind of like writing for us,
and it's just, more boring on screen to see people writing, obviously. So it's like the most lamest. Unless you're making misery, then it's kind of interesting. It could be. Well, I hope so. I mean, what we're hoping
People see it.
Yeah, I mean, we're hoping that it'll spark dialogue, because, I don't know anybody, like I said, who doesn't have a friend or a loved one that's going through it. And you're seeing it now on the campaign trail. It's a big campaign issue, because it's become kind of an epidemic, and it's kind of made its way into the suburban middle-class neighborhoods. And it's something we need to talk about.
They're dying over there.
Go ahead, where?
Just a couple things going on here. I work in special ed at Santa Monica High School. So
Right.
I'm around this all the time with the have and the have-nots, privileged, not privileged. The difference in rehab for privileged and not so privileged, as far as resources, what has been your experience with that? Because I'm in conversations, there are no filters in a high school. I'm also an actor, and I work at a high school, and so I see this all the time.
Well, first of all, there's no difference in terms of how this affects whether you're privileged or not privileged. I mean, it cuts.
The treatment.
Oh, the treatment. Yeah, because the issues obviously cut through socioeconomic lines. But in terms of treatment, unfortunately, or fortunately in some weird way, the expensive treatments and they're all over the country. I mean, it's a cottage industry. It's proliferated everywhere. It's kind of a cookie cutter approach, unfortunately. They plug everybody into the same kind of thing, where they call it a disease. Now, to me, it's not a disease. The disease is the thing that you're experiencing, the difficulty, the pain, the emotional problems that you're taking something to get rid to self-medicate. The disease is not the drug taking or the alcohol taking. That's the medicine, in a sense, to try to help you with the underlying issues, which is the disease. And that disease.
He hates this because I think what he's thinking is, you don't know, Dad. You've never experienced it. I'm the one that knows these details. And I think he's very annoyed right now, because it's like, that's my experience, is not like, what are you talking about? Wow. Oh my Lord. He's so annoyed right now.
By the way, is different for everybody. So it's not just a one size fits all. People have different issues. So because of that, and because it's now getting national attention, we're starting to understand that people need to be treated as individuals. And first of all, they don't need to be punished. You don't punish somebody who's unhappy or is struggling with themselves and is in a lot of pain. You try to help them, and each person needs to be handled individually. And that may not need a big, expensive, rehab center. It may be just that we need to train and educate great therapists to be able to work with, people who are struggling, to help them understand why it is they're self-medicating. Why are they, what's at the core? Why are they doing what they're doing? That's not to say that there aren't elements of AA that are good, which is the community part.
That's the first time I've seen him try. He pulled it up and he tried to say something. And he just got overpowered again. See, everything I was saying on the last live, now this interview is making me actually feel like he is overpowering in a way where he's not even giving Nick a chance to talk, because now Nick's in his element. He's with his friend. So I feel like this is the time that if you give him the opportunity, I feel like he will talk more. And now his dad's not giving him opportunity so far. Why? Let's watch that again. He goes to try to talk. Why am I kind of felt bad that that just happened to him? I don't know why. That just made me feel bad for him.
Part of it. People who are struggling, to help them understand why it is they're self-medicating. Why are they, what's at the core? Why are they doing what they're doing. That's not to say that there aren't elements of AA that are good, which is the community part of it, to know that there are other people struggling like you are. But ultimately, when it comes down to actually helping that individual's problem is going to be different from this other guy's problems, you know, and even though they might be taking the same drug for whatever
I'm getting
reason.
annoyed.
So I think ultimately there's hope, but it's a process that's going to take place. Yeah.
Come on, Nick.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah.
Dang it. He was going to go talk again, and then Rob took the next question. What the heck? I'm getting really annoyed at this one. He tried twice, and I think his friend being there is making him have a little bit more confidence to actually remember that other interview. He didn't even have it to like pick it up. But now he's twice. The first time he actually started saying something, and Rob just, this is kind of upsetting me. Wow. Wow. No, that's what I saw in the first ones, but this one is different. This one, Nick's trying, and Rob is just, maybe he's not seeing him because he's over there, but this one's a little bit different. I'm like, it feels a little bit different to me. I'm like seeing some different things in this where I'm feeling a different way watching this one.
Right.
Kids, these young people don't know how to cope with their emotions.
That's exactly right.
That's what leads them to self-medicate. And
That's exactly right.
Let the kids.
Right.
They don't know how to deal with what they're feeling and how to express those feelings. That's how they resort to drugs and alcohol.
That's exactly right.
Oh, he tried to do it again.
Yeah. Yeah. Were you going to say something, Nick?
Yeah, just, you know, millions
Thank
of people, whether they want to admit it or not, struggle with addictions of some kind, of like drugs or whatever. And like since the 1930s, the most cutting edge, you know, science in this is, you know, AA. And for some people it works. For other people, it doesn't work. And it's a process in which you know, they say relapse is a part of recovery. But if you relapse enough times, you start to think, okay, you know, you're always supposed to believe I'm the problem instead of thinking that the, you know, the treatment, the meanings of the problem, and they're not working for you. And people that can't afford to go to places like this, you know, can, and if they're not, they're considered criminals. And, you know, it's also like people don't feel like they want to talk about this stuff because it has such a stigma attached to it.
Yeah, and I think that's always been my problem is the second A in AA. I think AA does work for some people, doesn't work for everybody, but the second A is my problem, which is the anonymous part. Because if we're going to really attack the underlying issues, we have to destigmatize it and say, you know, everybody has, I mean, if you just go through, you know, teenage years, even if you don't take drugs, you're struggling with your identity and confusion and all that. These are things we need to talk about. We need to, yeah, and I think that helps because then everybody can say, you know, I'm not so different from this guy or that guy, whatever, you know, whether it's drugs, alcohol, sex, gambling, whatever, overeating, whatever the things are that we're using to make ourselves feel better. Yeah.
And it's not, oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
It's not like, I have no idea what I'm going to say.
Sorry. Yeah.
I was going to ask about your relationship. If it, you know, your movie is obviously difficult, but coming together to work on this movie, I was curious what your experience.
Let Nick answer this first.
Well, we didn't set out for it to be cathartic or for it to be therapeutic, but it turned out to be that.
That's the thing. Like any confidence that he has, at least I'm seeing in this interview, like that one time he pulled up the mic, was gonna almost talk, you know, interrupt him to say, wait, you know, hey, I want to say something. But I feel like it's slowly dwindling as this is happening. So then now when he spoke then, he can't even remember, which he does do a lot. He does forget. But it's I think the reason he's forgetting is because he has no confidence. And so when he does it, it's like, it's making him forget things. Like, I think this is making that little bit of confidence he had because he has his friend there. It's just dwindling down now. And the friend's just sitting there like, and now when they have a chance to talk, now they're going to feel like incompetent. I feel like when they get the chance, now it's going to feel like, oh, wait, no, I have nothing to say. Like, I feel like they were ready at the beginning. And Oh man, this is making me upset. I really am. I mean, I get it. If you guys watched my first lives, Kim C, I had the same reaction. Like that's just Rob. But after watching so many of these, now seeing that Nick's actually wanting to talk in this one, and so is his friend. Now his friend's not being initiative. I mean, because that's not his dad, so his friend's not taking the initiative. But you could tell he has so much to say. But I mean, his dad is this well-known, powerful guy. His friend's dad, Rob. So it's like he's not gonna know how to like interrupt or like get his voice in there. And then now when he does, he's gonna feel like, ooh, not worthy, I feel like. So we're not gonna get a lot out of him, I don't think. Which is sad because I feel like we could have with them two together. I think they would have talked a lot more than normal than normally Nick was talking, but I think we're losing it, guys.
It forced me to understand a lot more of what Nick had been going through. I've been to all those meetings. I've been to all the family sessions, but you're told certain things by the counselors that you shouldn't listen to what your kid is saying.
Oh, COD of what? Are you talking about this case? I don't understand what you're saying. Flo Joe. COD of what? Are you saying Celeste? Or what are you? I don't understand what case you're talking about. Figures, if it's Celeste, I've been waiting so long. I'm in the middle of a live. Is that what you're saying? Oh, this case. Well, is it really? I mean, they were stabbed, weren't they? But okay, I'll look it up. I wasn't even really like anxious to see that because I mean, we know they were stabbed, right? But I'll look it up. We could share it. Sorry, I haven't slept. So if I'm a little, I have not slept. And before today, like all week, maybe a couple hours one night and a couple hours the other night, and then 0 now, like all week. I mean, I don't know. I've been working. I'm just like, I still have to finish that David video. I'm working on all these. Oh, my Lord. Okay, I'll look it up.
Because they're lying or whatever the thing. And what I learned is that I know my son better than the experts do, and I listen to everybody, just like it says in the film, with anybody who had a desk and a diploma, because you're desperate. You're as a parent, your first job is to keep your child safe. And if you feel like something is happening, you'll get desperate. You'll do anything. And what I learned is that I need to listen to him more. I need to pay attention to more of what he's saying and telling me. And I did learn that as we went through this.
Was there any strong disagreements on how the story would be told between the two of you?
Yes, there were disagreements. I mean, from Nick's point of view, he understood.
If you guys want to see it real quick, hold on, I'll share it here. So I just looked up the dad and then I'll do the mom. So the dad says manner homicide, multiple sharp force injuries. Multiple, that's interesting. But from the instant, what I was taking from this is he slit their throats, but also there was multiple stab wounds, because that's what the reports have been saying. They've been saying, I remember the first reports out at least, did it sound like it was more than one, but it does sound like that he also slit their throats. So it was like, whatever, stabbed him and slit their throats. It sounded like that's from the initial reports. That's what I had in my head that happened. So it's probably what sounds like what happened. Multiple sharp force injuries. So that's the dad. Okay. Can you guys see that? Let me look up their mom. Okay. And then I don't know if it'll be under Singer or Reiner. Reiner. Oh my God. Reiner. Why can't I get that right? Because they kept saying Singer Reiner, but I guess we'll go Reiner. I'm sure it is. Yeah, Reiner. In the articles, they would say Michelle Singer Reiner. Probably though, because they wanted to give her maiden name so they'd see who she is. Same thing. Sharp force injuries. Okay. Well, thanks, Flojo. I thought we already knew, but no, I'm glad to get the official release. I thought you meant Celeste for a minute. I'm like, oh my Lord, are you serious? But yeah, homicide, multiple show. Okay. Alrighty. Wait, what do you? All right, so let's finish watching that. Sorry, Flojo. If I just sounded, I don't know, kind of rude, I'm sorry. I'm just like, no sleep. And then
understood what he was going through, and he understood the life in rehab, and I understood more of what his mother and I were going through. So we pooled our resources, and there were a lot of discussions back and forth, arguments, and times it was really rough. But I've said this before, it was the most difficult, emotional, and the most satisfying creative experience I've ever been involved in.
Sometimes it would get overwhelming for me, and having Matt, who's like looks at it from an objective point of view, it's just like, okay, stay on task. We just got to do. Sometimes it did feel like a movie to me. It felt like it was turning into more of something, and he would just say like,
I don't know where you were going. I mean,
it's a new thing I'm trying out, and I'm never doing it.
What he was saying is that sometimes it was so close to the bone that would become the thing that you were confused about. And Matt, because Matt was not Charlie. I mean, Matt was, he would push Nick back to, hey, it's not you. This is a fiction, and we're going to tell a story. So don't go off the rails thinking that we're now into this psychodrama and psychotherapy. And it was tough for me too to keep, being able to draw the line between what was reality and what was the film. And it was life imitating art, imitating life, just spinning around. And it was really hard at times.
Yeah, and I think that we decided, like at first we identified it really strongly with the characters, and then we realized that we had to distance ourselves from them, and whatever worked in our lives, like we used, but whatever didn't work to make the story most compelling, we stepped out of it. And so I think that it was important to plumb the depths of like what we've been through, but while keeping a certain distance, and that way, not taking it personally with this character trait or that character trait, just to make it more of a universal story to sort of.
But sometimes the scenes, like the scene in the garage when they get into that big fight and he slams the door and all that, we lived through versions of that. And so when working on that scene was really hard. I mean, it dredged up all this stuff. Now, we have some distance from it, and we have way more distance now than we had when we were making the film even. But during that time, I mean, it dredged up. I think that's what made it good, Yeah.
Rob, I've been a fan of yours since that opening shot in This Is Spinal Tap, where you cross your arms and put your hands in your waist. and I saw, I mean, obviously a very different movie, but in This Is Spinal Tap and in this, it's like material that you wouldn't usually think you'd find humor in, and then finding humor in it. And I found myself laughing at moments, and I thought, this is such serious subject matter, but I'm still laughing.
Well, that's good. That's good because, my feeling is if you're going to make a movie about that reflects life in any way, it's going to be funny and it's going to be sad, and you have to find a way to blend those things. I mean, even a picture like Misery has laughs in it. Everything, there's life has laughs in it. And the scene that was one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie is when they're they're cleaning the bathroom, and they get into this discussion of getting the heroin and having getting somebody to go down it. And this is an actual discussion that Nick had with somebody at one of those places, and it's like who's on first for drugs
and heroin.
And heroin. I mean, to me, it's very funny, but it's real. It's actually the discussion they had.
You didn't even understand it when I tried to explain it to you.
So Nick was thinking, he was like, we need an anecdote. Throw in an anecdote. I'm trying to think of this anecdote. And then he was like, and then this guy told me about this blowjob that he received for heroin. And then I was like, wait, what? And he was like, and he went through and I was like, wait, he sucked his dick for heroin? And he's like, yeah, but but who got the heroin? And then I was like, and then we were outside on a smoke break, and I like put my cigarette on. I was like, we got to go upstairs, and just like basically transcribed the whole misunderstanding that we had just had, and you know, and it was. And that was the only scene in our first draft that didn't get touched.
It never got touched. We never changed one word of that
There was
scene.
red lines through everything, but there's the only bit of white was that scene.
That's what makes it so great because it's random.
Yeah.
You're writing so perfectly, it's not random. So you're depicting life.
Right.
So therefore, our lives are very random and it doesn't make sense. So thank you for that.
Yeah. Back here.
I don't think people realize how widespread drugs actually are within the communities, even within the top 1% or mid whatever. I did drugs for like 16 years, quit like 10 days ago. But
10 days ago.
Something like that. I just decided I was done.
I quit 10 hours ago.
But the whole point is, like when I was 16, my parents were high-end executives, never home, traveled 3-4 weeks out of the month. And every time they're home, they're like, hey, here's a few grand, go have fun. And what are you going to go do?
Yeah. Well, also, if
Why did Nick say I quit 10 hours ago? Was that a joke? Or is he just like saying something that he just admitted something that I'm confused about that because that didn't make much sense. Oh, thanks, Cat Fab, sorry. Thanks, Cat Fab, for joining. And thanks, Dark Sea, for the gifted memberships. Thank you guys so much. Dark Sea, I missed you. I'm glad you are here. Hopefully you're doing good. And Cat Fab, it's nice to have you in here for a new member. But what was that? I know it wasn't joking, but that he's not. I don't know. That was just kind of odd. Because, like, I mean, I get it could have been a joke, but it just almost didn't seem like it was just odd. Because it was funny enough just being 10 days ago. You know what I'm saying? Like adding the 10 hours that was unneeded. You know what you get? Yeah, I don't know, but maybe it was a joke. But that's I'm sure how everybody took it. But what if it was actually really him admitting something? And he's like, oh, "I just did 10 hours ago," and it's like an admittance, which it probably was just a joke. But that would be something if he's just like, "Look, I just say that right, and nobody even responds. Like nobody's even listened to me. Yep, I did it 10 hours ago. Nobody's even responding to anything I say." Like type of thing. Like in case in point, nobody even responded. But it was probably just a joke. It's just interesting. It's just interesting thing. Okay, sorry.
If you're feeling empty and that your parents aren't around and you want to fill the hole. I mean, you're filling something up to make yourself feel better.
Exactly. And then at the same time, my older brother, this was during 9/11, went off to war. So it's like, it was me home alone with my younger brother, who's 10 years younger than me, with a bunch of money, inviting friends over to a mansion. And we all had money.
Yeah.
So it's like, we ended up just throwing massive parties in the backyards, inviting thousands of people.
Yeah.
It ended up actually being that we had parties that was 1,1000 people.
Jesus.
And the cops actually showed up and surrounded the whole area and emptied everything and made people stay there until the next morning.
Wow. Wow.
And that's how widespread it is in high school. I was part of a giant community of junkies, if you want to put it like that, where we actually knew that more than 50% of the people in high school were doing drugs, and other had tried them or were interested in trying them.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, the thing, how much a lot of time has changed, because when I was a kid in high school, this is a zillion years ago, we knew one kid that smoked weed. Literally. And then in the 60s, all of a sudden, drugs became very prevalent, mostly hallucinogens, and then cocaine got added, and all these other things got added. To now, we're at a point now where in high school, it's there. It's there for everybody.
Right. And
Yep.
I think kind of honestly, the hippie generation brought it in, that we saw our parents or whatever take the lead on it, and it kind of became hyped up because everybody kept talking about the good old days, and it got more and more hyped up, and all of a sudden people took this this stance where we don't know what to do with it. So we're going to shove you away to a camp somewhere where we can kind of hide you away and cover up the problems, because nobody in America or the world wants to admit that we have issues.
Yeah, yeah, but the good thing now is that all the candidates on the campaign trail are talking about it. And Republicans and Democrats are in agreement. It's the one issue that the Republicans and Democrats can agree upon, which is that we have to approach this problem by not being punitive, not punishing kids who are struggling and don't know and don't have a direction. We can't punish them, we have to help them.
What about the doctors prescribing the kids the drugs that they're getting addicted to?
Well, that's a big problem too. That you've got, opioids that are being overprescribed, and then when you can't get those, if they cut back, then cheap heroin flows in, and
how easy it is to justify taking the pill, because you're like, it's not some gooey stuff off the street, it's coming out of a bottle, it's an exact amount. This is cool, I'm popping a pill.
I have ADHD, so I'm legally prescribed a low dose of meth, which is Adderall.
Right.
And then I'm prescribed a narcotic, which is Xanax, which is a low dose of heroin.
That's right.
And if I were to be off of it, then I would gradually not be on my insurance, and I would move to the street if I weren't prescribed it.
Right.
My doctor's here giving it to me monthly.
Right. And
that's a good doctor.
And the thing is, you can abuse those
That's what I'm
things.
saying. And I'm on my path of trying not to abuse them, and it's funny that it's just, I randomly came to this movie today, and I didn't even know this was happening, so it's just like, kind of like, happened for me, but I'm in the middle of struggling with my doctor prescribing me the things that I'm addicted to.
Wow.
I definitely dealt with that.
And you have to work with a psychopharmacologist, I guess, that you're working with, to understand that, so that they're not doing that, and so you won't be tempted to abuse. I mean, for instance, right. Like Vyvanse supposedly is not as addictive as Adderall, or it can't be abused as much as Adderall. I mean, there are all those things. I mean, it's really tough. It's really. Yeah, unbelievable. Yeah. What?
Of course.
Sure there are. Yeah, I mean, there's therapy, there's, a good psychopharmacologist that you can work with a therapist. There's a lot of different types of things. I mean, and there are actual drugs that help people get off heroin, Suboxone and things like that, but, Nick points this out, which is, if you're taking Suboxone, which is an opioid inhibitor that keeps you from it doesn't do anything, you don't want it, you can't go to AA because you're thought of as not being clean because you're taking this to get off of that. So that to me is not a very good thing, but yeah.
I have two quick questions. Nick, was there an Eva in your life?
Definitely
No.
not.
I want to know how many of those windows did you have to destroy, those stained glass windows?
Only one.
No, the funny thing about the stain, in real life,
We destroyed a lot.
no, but in the making of the movie.
Oh, if you guys haven't watched it, Eva is the girlfriend in the movie. I was curious if that was real too. Because like, is he able to connect? Did he have a girlfriend like that was able to connect? Like, okay, I'm glad. Good question. See, those are good questions, specific ones for Nick. Like, I wanted to know that when I was watching it the whole time. Like, is this a real person? Did Nick really have a relationship with some girl and that really helped him get through rehab like it did? And then of course made him relapse because she was making me mad. She made me mad towards the end of that. I was like, but anyway, very good question. Okay. So he's saying it's not real. Okay. So let's see what he says about the stained glass window. So he throws a rock through it. Okay, here we go.
We destroyed a ton of them because to get it to do what it was supposed to do, to crack all together, we had to hit a lot of windows.
I threw a rock and it hit the DP in like the knee and it like ripped through his pants.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know this, but when you throw a rock through a regular window, it just makes a hole.
Yeah, it doesn't
There's no
shatter.
cinematic
Doesn't
explosion, orgasm of
Yeah.
glass. That doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And was there an Eva?
No.
We invented, the reason we invented that part of it was because we wanted him to have a substitute for what his addiction was. I mean, he was using drugs, and just like Common points out, is there a difference? He's leaving to be with a girl, and the girl is replacing the drugs. And then when the girl turns on him and he's not enough for her, she's going to drink or whatever, and she's going to go, that makes him crash and relapse. So that was the device that we used for that. And they do say, don't get involved with people right when you're trying to get off. You get somebody who's as unstable as you are, and you feed on each other. Yeah.
So one person, that's a huge thing. They do tell you that in rehab, because like, let's say one person has a weak moment and they relapse, it's going to cause the other one to. So it's just not a good idea. And I want to make a comment about that, because I'm seeing some comments. Where is this at? This one comment I wanted to comment on. Right here, Mrs. Mental. So if you remember, if you heard, Rob said that Nick told him that about the Suboxone. If you're taking Suboxone or methadone, you're not considered clean, so you can't go to AA. So he said that Nick told him that. That wasn't from Rob. And what Nick's talking about from somebody that goes to rehab, it's not that you're not accepted. You're still accepted. You still go to AA, but they almost look down on you, not like people running to rehab, but like people. Like if you tell somebody and you're going to AA and you're rehab and you tell somebody, yeah, I'm on Suboxone, it's not like they kick you out. You're welcome. But there's this sense of the people that aren't on anything and didn't have to do that, or not on Suboxone or methadone, there's a sense that like behind your back kind of thing, they're going to be like, well, they're not really clean, but it's not like you're not welcome. But that's what Nick's talking about. There is a sense, and that's real. Like you feel like you don't want to tell people because if they're not on it, they're going to view you as not really clean. So it's almost like people want to lie. Like, I'm not going to tell them I'm on it because you want to feel like you want to lie, because those people are going to be like, well, you're not clean, but it's not that you're not accepted, but like, it's like almost like in their head. It's not like they're going to tell you to your face necessarily, but that's like the perception of what like going into it, what people are thinking. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the thought that you hear, like, well, does that make sense? And it's coming from a real place. I get, Nick. It's real. That's what your thought into it, but it's not like you are accepted. You still could go to AA, you know what I'm saying? But maybe in people's minds, you're not, if that makes sense. It's like some of the people, they're thinking, well, no, they're not really. And it's like, you almost feel like, gosh, they're probably thinking that. Does that make sense? So that's what that's all about. I mean, like I said, that's my experience of it or opinion. I mean, I guess maybe other people could have other things, but I could relate to why Nick said that to his dad. But also, it's not like they're going to kick you out. You're still a part of the AA, or treatment.
Nick, congratulations on how far you've come. I'm curious, family, if there's two portrayals of the family in the film. One is the parents, but the other portrayal is this.
Oh, really?
Session where there are the two crying Cathys.
Do I know you?
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
And so I'm curious what you were
That's
trying
funny.
to convey with that particular scene.
Well, it's something that happened to us. In many of the sessions we had, there were two women, both named Kathy, and they cried.
And she's sitting right there.
Is one of the Cathys there? There's one of the crying Cathys. And we always thought it was funny because it is. No, it's emotional. It's very emotional. And you're hearing somebody else's story. They're telling a story, and it triggers your feelings. And so there you go, and everybody's crying. So that was always, we thought that was a thing that was funny. Yeah. Oh, you did?
We made a joke that this would happen.
And it did. But then we had another family, and he had two. We never had that where there were two mothers. That never happened to any of them. But, yeah. But there was all kinds of. Listen, I can't tell you how many different sessions we went to, and different people and all that stuff. So, but there is fun in it. It's funny, and there's also it's sad too. and Adam? Is there a real Adam?
I feel like when we wrote the pilot, Adam was kind of based on my character, which was like a college guy who, like, on the surface was doing everything the right way. And then, he cracks. And obviously, I'm still here. So
I was right. So I was right the first impression. Do you remember I said he has that look that I initially saw a picture of him like, that's him. But then I was confused because Adam dies. And I feel like that had to be about a real a real thing that Nick went through, so personal. So like that can't be him. That is him. It is based on him. Yes, just from a picture. Remember, that's what I was talking about. So that's made up. His best friend didn't die. That's not a I thought that was probably pulled from a real thing he went through. Okay. So, but that's why I reconsidered as like, maybe that's the guy he met in rehab, but it was, I mean, in reality, he met him in rehab. That's why I considered, but originally I was like, that has to be his best friend. Should have went with stuck with my first gut instinct. Best friend. He's just got that look because his best friend, if you saw that movie, he has just that certain style and look that's a known type. And it's just like, you see a picture of that guy, it's like, that has to be him. Okay. Anyway. Sorry, I just got real excited because I was like, that was, oh my God. I'm glad that he's talking about it.
we depart. That
We
was
made
a
him more
depart.
of like a druggie. He wasn't because you weren't a druggie, so we had to make him more.
Right, but he was like me in the sense that he was doing everything he was supposed to be doing. And like, I had been told to get sober all the time, but I'm like, I'm getting all my assignments in. I'm at this good school. And that was what we wanted. That's what Adam dying, I thought, was important, was to show people that, like, just because you're not a quote unquote junkie, and just because you're doing everything that you're supposed to be doing, doesn't mean you don't have a problem. It doesn't mean you don't need help. And like, addiction has a lot of different, it's not just a guy under a bridge, They're functioning alcoholics. They're functioning drug addicts.
One of my favorite speech and scene in the movie is when Adam tells his story of how his parents were with him, and that is taken right out of Matt's experience of the parents who are pushing so hard for him to be a certain way and how that affected him. Now, as far as Adam dying, couple of things. One is my best friend died when I was in the 60s. It was my best friend who I shared a house with, and he was a heroin addict, and he had stopped, and then he went back, and when he went back, he overdosed and died. So I have experienced that, and I've known other people that have died, and Nick has certainly known a lot of people in the different programs that he's been in that are no longer here. So, I mean,
Me too.
he didn't have a close friend that died. I had a close friend that died, but we took from that, and it's certainly something that happens, and it's really scary.
It's so crazy because in the movie, Charlie says to his friend, nothing ever happens to you. You're like Teflon. Like, like this one time I get dragged off to this, this one time they all, drug somebody else. Happens to, I forget Chad, or I forget his name, happens to him. Charlie gets drunk. I think he dies. The other guy, I think he said, or something. He gets hurt. I think the other guy dies. And Charlie gets drug off to freaking rehab in the middle of the night. And you're just, nothing happens to you. You just keep on living, keep on doing your thing, going to college. And then he tells the story that Rob's talking about, that like his perception of like, yeah, but this is the stuff I was going through with my parents. And he tells like his side of like how hard it was. And then they're doing coke together, and then Charlie goes up to the bathroom, comes down, and that's when he's overdosing. Oh, and it's just so crazy because Charlie just got and said, you're like Teflon, nothing ever happens to you. Can you imagine if that was a true story, how much that guilt of, you just said that about your friend, like you're Teflon, nothing ever happens to you, and then minutes later he dies. Like it's a crazy, that was an interesting and good like thing to add, because that just like, wow, I could see that happening too. Like somebody like, nothing happens, look, And then he opens up and he's like, yeah, listen to this. You know, my parents wanted me to be this certain person, and all they cared about was my grades. That's all they care about. If I do this and this and I get into college and all I care about grades, they don't care that if I was using drugs, as long as I did good grades, drugs or not. Basically, like I could be high and, you know, doing drugs, but as long as I was making the grades, they didn't give a crap. They just cared about the good grades regardless, you know. So it's like he wasn't feeling like they actually cared about him. So they don't care if he was doing drugs or whatever. As long as he can make the grades, they could care less, right? The whole perception. They just wanted him to look good for the family, like do good, you know? And so Charlie's was different. Charlie's life was like his parents cared so much that they were, well, like helicoptering him, you know, like carrying because they wanted him to get better. But it's a little bit different because the dad, they start off making it look like it's just because the dad wanted to win election. So it was kind of like, but it ended up, it was more than that. It was like, because I mean, his whole life he's trying to like help him because he does want him to do better. So it was a little bit different because they were caring more about him in the movie. And you see in the end that the dad actually really did care about him. So it's a pretty good movie. It really is. But, okay, sorry. I'm going to shut up.
One more question and then we'll, yeah.
During the film, when the protagonist is kind of stealing the car, and you have his father grab the fireplace poker,
yeah,
kind of reminds me of Carrie's previous role in Princess.
That's right. That we did that intentionally.
So I was kind of wondering what motivated the casting choice there to have him as your proxy or like the bad cop parent, when the kind of image most people think of is that kind of unflinchingly noble character when they think of Carrie.
Well, that's a good question. He talked about why was Carrie picked and why did we make him a pirate, and you know, which is very much like the Princess Bride. We did it because first of all, I hadn't worked with Carrie since Princess Bride. We've been in touch and been friends for a while, and I thought he'd be a perfect guy to play that part. And then it's the underbelly of it. I mean, there's a romanticized part of a guy who's a movie star and plays the swashbuckling, and the reality is that he's just a human being, you know. And you know, and I love. There's one line in it that I love where Charlie's doing the stand-up, and he says, "My father's a piece of shit," and he says, "I have no joke there. I just wanted to say that." And I think it's a great line because it's what he feels. It doesn't matter that he's thought of a certain way to the public. You know, the only thing that matters is how the child feels about his father, and that's what he's feeling at that point. So I thought that was, and then the fact that it was Carrie, I like the idea that he was in a series of pirate movies like the Pirates of the Caribbean or whatever, and people came up to him and dueled with him and stuff like that, because I never was a pirate, but people are always coming up to me and meatheading me all the time. So, all right, well, thank you so much for.
Wow.
Hey y'all, go see Tank.
Interesting. Well, I'm gonna go. I gotta eat some dinner. But yeah, I would recommend it. I liked it. I did. It didn't get horrible reviews, but it didn't get like, it wasn't like this great reviews, but it got like, just kind of average. But I mean, I like it because I like drug movies because I could relate, like I've said 20 times already. Sorry, I'm repeating myself, but yeah, I thought it was pretty good. But that scene killed me with his friend. That was just that was the hardest one. That was hard because after he just said that to him, it's just like, oh my God. And then dang it. I loved his friend too. He kind of had to grow on you, but he was one of those like, you know, kind of dopey, like, you'll see the character, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You've seen that character before in movies. I mean, not really, just that, I don't know how to explain it, but it's just that tight character. It's just, I don't know. All right, I'm going to go, guys. Yes, it's free. Go on YouTube Movies. You watch it right free. I'm trying to think if there's, and notice, Amber, I was telling this earlier, see if you could spot Nick makes an appearance in it. Actually, I shouldn't have you know what I should have done? I shouldn't have said what scene that was and see if you guys could find them. I'm not going to say. I had said it before earlier on the live. I don't know if you were here when I said it on my live at the beginning of this live and then earlier, but I'm not going to say it again. Nick makes a quick little appearance on that. Not as Nick, as just as, well, you'll see. See if you could find him. And his brother is actually in it too. Jake, see if you could find him. His brother will be easier to spot because he has a little bit bigger part than Nick. But see, let me know. Have you heard me say where he was at, Amber? Were you watching earlier where you heard where I said what scene he was doing? I'm just curious. It's fine if you did, but I want to see if anybody, well, look at my iRed. Like my chest was breaking out in hives earlier, and then what the heck? Did you see that? That was the heck. I need to get some sleep. Wait, did you hear? So you didn't hear what I said, where I said he was at? Just, you could be honest. If not, I want to know. If you didn't, then don't rewatch the beginning, because just watch the movie first and pick it out. But as long as you didn't hear, I just want to see if you could spot him. Okay, cool. Let me know. Email me if you spot him, and let me know what he's doing in it, because it's easy to describe what he's doing in it. I'm just curious if you spot him. All right, guys. Well, yeah, right. But he's more than a stand-in. I mean, he actually has like a part where he's like in an experience with one of them. You know what I'm saying? It's not like he's just, you know how they have like, what do they call that? Where it's just like in the background. This is a little bit more than in the background, because he actually has like a part, like a scene where he's doing something with it, with the characters, I'll say. So it's a little bit more than just like in the background in a way, but it's still so quick. It's really quick. I would say a minute tops he's in it, but all right. It's called Being Charlie. It's a free, if you go on YouTube Movies, you'll be able to watch it free. Let me know. We'll talk about it next time we talk about this case. You could let me know what you guys think of the movie. I said, yeah, the girlfriend makes me really mad though. I start out liking her, and then by the end of her time in the movie, I don't like her. Because it makes me mad, because you want Charlie to do good, and you see that. Yeah, I won't ruin any more of the movie, but she ends up making me kind of mad, and very mad, and towards like her last part, and it's like, no. And I love Adam in it. And I even love the guy. So you'll see the guy that he actually does meet in rehab. The guy that he has the conversation about the sex thing, that's not Adam. That's another guy who meets in rehab. That's the guy that originally I thought, oh, he's for sure the best friend. But then I was like, but he's still alive. So I thought it was a real thing that they portrayed, that his best friend died. So that's why I was like, maybe he's somebody else. So then when they said, oh, we did rehab together, I was like, oh, he's probably his friend in rehab. I could see that too. But initially it's so strong of Adam you get. But anyway, my point is, the guy that he has the conversation that he meets in rehab, I like him too. He's a good character. He doesn't have a big of a part as his best friend, but yeah. But you see, like, that conversation really took place with him and this guy. But that's not who he portrays. So it's like just kind of a ramble mix of everything. But I think the deeper meaning of like how he related to his parents and stuff, I think they try to make that as real as possible, but just with the specifics being different, some of the specifics. And that conversation he has with his friend, it's a little bit different because it's more, well, you'll see. It's the same concept, but the first, like, who's telling the story? Like, he's saying he had a conversation with his friend, Mike, or what's his name? Mike, I think. His real name, or Matt. Is it Matt? Maybe his name is Matt. Yeah, his name is Matt. He had a real conversation with him. Hey, some guy was telling me about it, and then they couldn't understand it. In the movie, it's a first person, the guy that's telling Nick about it. So doesn't it sound like from watching this interview that they're saying that somebody told Nick about it, and then Nick was telling him about it, and they couldn't make sense, like who's getting who, whatever, right? That's how I got it from this interview. But in the movie, it's the actual guy that had it done is telling him, and then he can't make sense out of it. Does that make sense? You'll see. Anyway, all right, guys. I'm sorry. Now I'm just like telling too much of it. Not really. I don't think I ruined any of it. Like, if I would know all that and I watched it, it wouldn't ruin any of it, guys. You'll like it. Let me know. All right, bye. Yeah.